1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
4th down and a yard to go. Long count. They give it up. Bijan Robinson hit in the backfield. He goes down. Kansas City holds on downs again. Nick Bolton scrapes to the outside and makes the hit. And Kansas City defensively holds on downs.
Chiefs Radio Network, Nick Bolton, who I think had a back injury a little bit earlier in the quarter, ends up coming up with a massive defensive play. Kansas City Chiefs maintain a perfect record of 3-0, Perloff, but this was like an escape. I don't know if the Chiefs had any business winning this game.
What are we doing here? This is the third escape in a row from the Chiefs. I mean, is this how you dominate in the NFL now? Just wait till the end of the game and hope for a mistake by either the officials, the other team, or something lucky? Because you have them three-peating, Maggie. I do not. I picked the Bengals. This formula of whatever it is, I don't even know what it is. Mahomes is okay, and then the defense wins the game in the last minute. It is just bizarre that they are 3-0 because once again, last night, in the key moment, their opponent let themselves down, and the Falcons should have won that game and lost.
I always talk about this boogeyman aspect of the Chiefs where you feel like you're not just playing against the guys who are on the field. You're playing against so much more. And in some cases, playing against the officials. Yeah. And I hate to be that person, but the Falcons absolutely got hosed on a no call on their second to last drive of the game. I guess third to last drive. Second to last drive. 15 play drive, pardon me. They are just perfectly executing this drive, just milking the clock, keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. And then it's a throw to the back of the end zone where the Falcons wide receiver gets mugged.
Yep.
And they don't call it. And it should have been 1st and goal at the 1. And all of a sudden it's not, and you end up kicking turning it over on downs, and it was just an abomination. And the worst part about that, Perloff, is that on the next Falcons drive, you can almost see the referees making up for it, And it's so frustrating as a fan. Just call the game. Don't call what you think Goodell wants. Don't call what you think the fans want. Just call the game.
They don't know. Did you say Adele?
I said what Goodell wants. Roger Goodell was there.
I was trying to think. I'm like, Maggie, you have the wrong pop star. That's the NBA.
Was she even there? She wasn't there, right?
No.
I didn't see her.
Yes.
Taylor.
No, I don't think they were calling what Taylor Swift wants. Honestly, I just think that listen, if the Chiefs were throwing that ball, that obviously would have been pass interference. I think it was a function of they didn't quite understand how Kirk Cousins was doing it last night. I don't either. The Falcons looked like they lost that game about 6 times.
Yeah.
Hung around, just like they did against the Eagles last week, and looked like they were going to get the W. Didn't make sense because, honestly, I think the Chiefs were the better team last night. But
Chiefs' defense was good.
They have this thing where they're just sort of hanging around and chipping down the field. Well, their offense is good in what it is. It's a ball control offense. They're going to run whoever it is. Carson Steele did his best Isaiah Pacheco impersonation, and Patrick Mahomes is going to have 100 first downs. So that's who they are now. They're just like, we're going to get you in situations at the end. So the Chiefs did it, but man, this cannot last. I mean, Are you nervous about your Chiefs at 3? They can't keep doing this.
I don't know. I kind of think they can. They did it basically last year to a Super Bowl.
And they did it the year before. They've won 2 incredibly close Super Bowls. And at a certain point, there's something called a luck variance that even analytics people talk about. At a certain point, the luck has to turn.
I don't think so. And look at what else is going on. Like now you have Justin Herbert who's injured in the division. The Raiders looked terrible yesterday. Denver gets a win, but they're not going to be a factor. And again, things are just breaking right for Kansas City.
Well, the AFC West is never, ever going to threaten. Andy Reid's going to win that until he retires.
Totally. But you thought with Jim Harbaugh matched up with Justin Herbert.
You thought.
Well, I thought they were going to be a playoff team. I don't know now.
They might be a playoff team, but they're not as a threat to the Chiefs.
Again, this is just more things that sort of break right for Kansas City. And I don't want to take everything away from them because they have this uncanny ability. Like Rashee Rice was the guy all night, right? Rashee Rice was the guy. And then he goes out, and then it's just Juju. Then he's the guy. And then Isaiah Pacheco goes out. Now it's just this guy who Carson Steele, the most interesting about him is he's got a pet alligator.
It's pretty
Crocky J.
When you say the most interesting thing, it's the most interesting thing in the NFL. And the second most interesting thing, did you see in the highlights last night? His sister got married and they're watching the game on the big screen.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the etiquette of that when your brother's in the NFL and you have a wedding that day.
Well, they said that they booked the venue a year ago. They don't know he's going to be playing on Monday Night Football.
I still think that maybe you figure something out.
They don't even know he's going to make the NFL. Wasn't he like a 7th-round pick? I mean, the odds that he actually was going to be available last night for his sister's wedding were way more likely than what we saw last night of him being a major factor for the 2-time defending champs.
Dude has an alligator home. Never bet against a guy with an alligator.
He started his career at Ball State. This was an unlikely story.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But still, it was just weird to me. The whole thing. That's the thing about last night's game and several key games from yesterday.
Yeah.
This season, weird stuff is happening. Games are very close because quarterbacks aren't good anymore. And that's what you're seeing. The too high safety that Mel Kiper hates. Again, the Chiefs can't just blow past people like they did in the Tyreek Hill era. They're going to have to win these close situational games. And I think it's a real slippery slope. I think at some point, luck has to turn, Maggie. This is where you and I disagree. They cannot win this way every week.
No, I think they can. I think they are. I think they will continue to do that until further notice. And you're right. You couldn't get really anything from Xavier Worthy last night. No big plays, no explosive plays. It's not an explosive offense. And the defense did a great job. I mean, listen, I know at the end, Atlanta put together 2 drives that you could have scored on either of those drives, and they didn't. But things turned in the second half when the Chiefs were making adjustments on defense. Let's adjust back here, Falcons. This is the frustrating thing about the Falcons. On paper, you've got all these weapons at all times, and yet they can go very, very quiet. Again, there were 2 drives. They got hosed on one. Drake London gets mugged in the end zone. He absolutely should have gotten the pass interference. Pitts gets, it was Pitts on that one. Gets mugged in the end zone, but you did have another drive. And you did get into the red zone. You couldn't convert.
Yeah, I mean, you had 4th and inches, and you were afraid to sneak because your quarterback's on one leg. So that kind of hurts you. But their offense is not good right now, right? I mean, the Falcons, they don't scare anyone, I don't think.
Well, they should. I mean, they scared your Eagles last week.
Not really. I mean, they were
a final
dormant.
Drive. They were able to go down in 32 seconds, basically.
That was
score.
The only drive where they moved the ball at all.
That's true.
Entire game. They just. Kirk Cousins didn't have a preseason, obviously, and I think you're seeing that a little bit. That again, the entire NFC South has sort of took a step back this week. Now Atlanta looks like they could be back in that mix. I just think the story to me is about the Chiefs, just the finding ways to win like this.
It is amazing. 855-212-4227, but just absolutely terrible, terrible call. And there were a couple really bad ones. I thought yesterday, though, last night, if you were watching that game to the end, where the Chiefs end up escaping out of Atlanta with a 22-17 win, I thought what was so egregious about it, again, was the fact that it did seem like they were trying to make up for it on the next drive. It's that's how you know it's bad. And when the officials mess up like that, just throw the flag if you see something. And it's they can't do it. It's you get this Kansas City blind, and last week it was the absolute right call, but with the Bengals, it was definitely a penalty. They should call it. I didn't like how Cincinnati fans were crying all week about how the refs were out to screw them. Atlanta really is a case.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pass interference is hard to call. After the Saints-Rams game in 18, I believe, they tried to review it for a year. It is, to me, the most messed up call in all of the NFL, except for maybe the inconsistency on holding. But it's hard to do that in real time. But I think this year, scoring is way down.
Yep.
Well, maybe if you let people just destroy the wide receiver when the ball's in the air, that's going to happen. So I'm going to bet. I want to bet against the Chiefs next week, but they play the Chargers, and I assume Justin Herbert's not playing. That's going to be a tough one for the refs to make up for this. But at a certain point in a big game, they're going to make a call that will destroy the Chiefs because that's what the NFL does.
No. The Chiefs are the only team that's immune to this. 855-212-4227. And again, they have this sort of boogeyman quality. And they're going to play the Chargers next week, and I doubt Justin Herbert's going to be in that game. And I don't know if Justin Herbert should have been in the game against the Steelers.
And even if he is, he can't move. So I don't think
he's going to be totally ineffective.
The Chargers have one thing. They're just going to run it down your throat. So I assume Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs D coordinator, can adjust.
855-212-4227. Just one of the, crazier outcomes that we saw yesterday. Well, not crazy because the Chiefs always end up winning these kinds of games, but it was pretty exciting down the stretch. I still don't know how a couple things happened yesterday, and I've gone back and watched them again. I still have no idea how San Francisco lost that game. I've watched it twice now.
I have some thoughts.
I mean, I think I know, but I still can't believe it. Like, my eyes and brain can't get on the same page with what we saw there. And I still can't believe that anyone is looking at the Cowboys and saying, wow, look how they came back at the end of the game, and saying that's a sign of anything good. You're getting your doors blown off you to get some garbage time, touchdowns and stuff, and it looked a little bit better. But that had more, I think, to do with the Ravens not being able to put their clamps down on the Cowboys than it had anything to do with the Cowboys. I can't imagine one Cowboy fan who's like, no, we got this now. We found something. You didn't. Gave up nearly 300 yards rushing. A week after you gave up nearly 200 yards rushing. It's not a good trend.
Yeah, the run defense was not fixed.
You don't
Jerry
say.
was all in. People are rightfully calling out Jerry. You should have signed Derrick Henry just so he didn't have to play against you in week 3. That was the critical mistake.
Yeah.
He keeps saying, and Jerry is saying this insane thing, I couldn't afford Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry costs $8 million. What the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You just gave $60 million a year to Dak Prescott.
And it took forever. And if you had given Prescott maybe some money earlier and restructured it, maybe you don't have all this dead cap, and maybe you do have a little bit more room or whatever.
Great point.
I'm just saying.
It's almost as if things are a little unsteady there in Big D.
Yeah, and I'm curious also how the 49er fans are feeling this morning. You had that game, and it's a division game too, and you didn't have a lot of players because of injury, but they had nobody because of injury. And you're leading the whole game. And you're on the road, but it's kind of like a home game because there's so many 49er fans who are in L.A. Just so many things about that game. Some odd outcomes. 855-212-4227. All right, you guys know the drill, especially on Mondays. We are going to try to get to everything, but if there's something you want to point out about your team's game, you got to call us, 855-212-4227. Again, I can show you the rundown. We have everyone on the rundown. But if you want to make sure your team gets in to the show, give us a call, 855-212-4227. Also, we're live, baby. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork, on X at Maggie Gray, and of course, our incredible Infinity Sports Network affiliates who we love. The free Odyssey app, another great way to listen to the show. We get to you next. See you guys 49er fans calling. See you guys Dallas Cowboy fans. See you Chiefs fans. All of it and more next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. All right, I have a theory on the Niners that I think is different than yours. I think we see this game a little differently.
How they lost this game to the Rams?
I will tell you, it's not even just how they lost the Rams. A bigger picture, what happened to that defense? Like where,
Great
you
question.
know, now looks like they're going to consistently be a top 5 offense. I mean, Brock Purdy can play. There's no doubt about it. They can still run the ball without Christian McCaffrey. But I remember the year that the Niners went to Philadelphia in the NFC title game, that defense was terrifying. They are harmless to opposing quarterbacks right now. And I know they have a new defensive coordinator. People are playing Steve Wilks. Man, they should have kept Steve Wilks because they're even worse this year. They are completely non-threatening, and they couldn't close out. That was a perfect close out the game situation for an aggressive defense. And then they really just were outmanned in the fourth quarter. So I think, yes, the offense should have put it away 3 ways to Sunday, but still, I think their defense is not scary anymore. I don't think anyone's scared of them.
Well, I think you're right, which is funny because I'm seeing the names on the back of the jerseys. I'm seeing Bosa. I'm seeing Hargrave. I'm seeing Fred Warner. I'm seeing all these Hufanga's back. I'm seeing all the names. I'm like, this is all the people who I would have been terrified of. And yet I'm watching a Rams team where basically everyone in the world knows it's going to Kyron Williams, and all of a sudden you're in the goal line basically, and the C's part for him. Like, that's the easiest touchdown. The game-tying touchdown that the Rams scored against the 49ers will be the easiest touchdown that Kyron Williams scores all year.
What about the fact that Tutu Atwell torched them along, too, because there was no pass rush on Stafford at the end of the game? I think that's a bigger problem. The Niners, that loss and having all those injuries is a big problem, but the fact that they're really now an offensive-heavy team is weird to me.
And they were missing, obviously, a lot of pieces. 855-212-4227. Leland's in San Francisco. Leland, we know you a little bit by now. I imagine you're not happy today.
Yeah, good morning, Maggie and Perloff. And Perloff, I agree with you. I'm not happy. Last year, they had Steve Wilks, and the coverage on pass, he had it dialed in. Maybe not so much on the run game. And if they would have kept him, I think they could have grown and improved. But what they do, they took it personal, and Kyle Shanahan fired him right after the Super Bowl. Wilks was out of there. And Nick Sorensen, he's like a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know what he's doing. L.A. didn't do very good their first 2 possessions. And then after that, they scored all of their 27 points throughout the game. Nick Sorensen couldn't make one good adjustment. So I think the problem's with him.
Yeah, I mean, what about sort of the game management things at the end? The missed field goal, the drop pass by Ronnie Bell. I hate to rub it in, but how frustrating was that, Leland?
Oh, it's totally frustrating because you see the game slipping away. Once they started getting hope after the fake punt, the whole momentum of the game changed, and I just saw the game just slipping out of the 49ers' hands. And the worst thing is they did it to themselves.
Yeah. And Leland, it was a tough one. Let's hear a little bit of sound. And good luck. At least the 49ers have the Patriots next week, and they look like they're not going to be very good. All right, let's get to first. I'm sorry, Ryan, can I hear some actually Nick Bosa first? The cut one wants to feel this loss, doesn't want to just turn the page. They want to let this sink in a little.
I think we have to feel the loss. For sure. We can't just move on and act like it's fine. You feel the loss, and you just start stacking week by week.
Okay. Cool. Nick Bosa acknowledging the Niners are in a hole now.
There's this kid out there that's
making excuses for any loss. But yeah, we're in a hole now, so we got to dig it out.
I'm sorry.
There's this kid out there that does an impersonation of a Nick Bosa halftime speech, which is the funniest thing. It's like, guys, big game. We're going to have to really go out there and kill him. I mean, the dude is Joey's like that too, but Nick is the worst. He's literally the least inspiring speaker in the history of the NFL. We got to feel this one, Mag.
Yeah, it doesn't make me want to run through a wall, but he's amazing. It's just yesterday I'm watching him, and at times when they just needed to get some pressure on Matthew Stafford, when the Rams have injuries all across the offensive line, and they just really couldn't get home when they needed to.
I actually haven't broken down the all-22. I'm sure they had 7 guys on both because there's no one.
Probably.
I mean, they are harmless other than him.
True. Okay, so a lot of 49er fans are a little upset because despite all of the injuries on offense, they still didn't think a wide receiver by the name of Ronnie Bell, who's like basically the 5th guy on the depth chart, should not have been in such a big situation where essentially a drop where he kind of was like double covered, sort of, where he was in a position to kind of like make or break a very, very big 49ers drive. So here's Kyle Shanahan agreeing with a reporter that Ronnie Bell should have made the catch and said it was a key drop.
Yeah, anybody does. There's other catches in the game that, you want people to make, but and you hope it doesn't have to come down to that. But, Ronnie will say the same thing. He needs to make that catch, but if he doesn't, then you'd like to be able to overcome it. And you can overcome it in other ways, but we didn't.
Okay, so a lot of 49er fans who really watched this team closely were just so upset that Ronnie Bell was even in the game, part of the game plan during that crucial time. Here's Shanahan defending it.
I mean, there's 5 in a game. We're rotating a lot of guys in there, and no, he was the guy out there. Chris Conley got that earlier in the game, but those 3 receivers we have up. Ronnie's been having a hell of a camp, had a hell of a week of practicing, but he's got to come down with a catch.
Yeah, I mean, tough, right? Because you're down so many offensive players. But if you listen closely to people who watch every snap of the 49ers, Perloff, they would say he didn't really have a great camp. He hasn't really been impressive, and he should not have been put in that position to try to make a play when he's just someone who's not capable of coming through like that. Never has for the 49ers, and most people think never will.
Oh, yeah, but don't you chalk that up to injuries? I mean, I understand. Like, I'm not sure why, if fans are upset, you can see all your skill players going down left and right. That's the thing. I mean, the Niners are desperately beat up here. I think if you have a 3-touchdown game from Jawan Jennings, usually you're going to win that game in San Francisco.
And he looked amazing.
He looked like Randy Moss.
I know.
I'm not sure that putting it all on Bell is fair. And by the way, I was told, I did not hear that Shanahan sound, that Shanahan threw Bell under the bus. That wasn't a throw under the bus. He said Ronnie would say the same thing. I thought that was a mild maybe shoved him a little bit towards the bus. I don't think he threw him. Would you guys think Shanahan was throwing Ronnie Bell under the bus?
Definitely.
Why?
Definitely. Because, we've seen every coach in the NFL, maybe in NFL history, literally has been asked the question about what happens with a guy who has a bad drop. You always say, well, it doesn't come down to one play. We had plenty of opportunities to win, and we didn't. And Kyle Shanahan, who once again blew another double-digit lead against the Rams in SoFi, instead of putting any accountability on himself, goes, the receivers got to catch the ball. You guys are right. Thank you for that.
Well, we only heard part of the press conference. You're saying that one quote, I don't think that was a total throw in the bus. He's like, Ronnie's had a great camp. Like, I don't know. I came away from that being like, he kind of likes Ronnie.
He says Ronnie had a great camp because he wants to defend his own ass for putting him out there on the field. He's like, well, hey, the guy was playing great in camp. How was I supposed to know he was going to drop the ball, even though he drops the ball every game I put him in? Like, it was a lot of self-preservation I heard from Kyle Shanahan.
I don't know. I've seen worse throwing under the buses.
Well, if that's the bar. Quickly, before we get to Bogus's update, Travis is in Fort Worth. We started the game off with this, talking about last night's Chiefs win against the Falcons. Travis, you think the Chiefs slander, they did get a little help from the refs last night. I think even anyone would have to admit that. But they won the game. You think the slander's gotten out of control?
100% the slander's gotten out of control. Even in last night's game, nobody wants to talk about the roughing the passer call on Chris Jones when he's getting held by 2 guys and hands to the face by their offensive lineman, which led to a Falcons field goal. Everybody wants to talk about how the Chiefs are getting the refs' favor in all these games. They were the 6th most penalized team last year. They get more penalties called against their own cornerbacks for receivers committing pass interference against them. It happened to Trent McDuffie 2 weeks in a row. Last week against the Bengals, Jamar Chase drags him down, and then McDuffie gets called for PI, and then again today. Sure, the Falcons would have scored a touchdown, and it was a missed call.
Right.
But we act like it's not Patrick Mahomes that's going to get the ball back, and then they're not going to drive the ball down and win the game with a field goal or a touchdown.
Oh, that's a fact.
Well,
Mahomes definitely would have won that game. I agree with you on that.
Well, maybe, but they also went 3 and out as soon as they got the ball back.
Yeah, because they were leading. Mahomes, when he's behind, is unstoppable. He's 100% in that situation.
Yeah, okay. Again, Travis, I'm just saying there's a boogeyman aspect to the Chiefs. Perloff's asking if this is sustainable, and I'm saying yes. Yeah. I don't know if you think so, but playing this way got him to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, Travis, let me ask you that. Don't they need to get up a little bit, and don't they need to win a game by 14 points at some point, or can they keep doing this?
No, I definitely think that they need to step it up. But last year, there was the Christmas game against the Raiders that they lost, and that was their wake-up call. And then you really saw the boogeyman of the Chiefs wake up and start beating teams by double-digit points.
Yeah, I mean, you're winning games where Travis Kelce is basically a rumor in that game. He had one big catch in the second half, but that was about it.
Wow, that's just the same formula from last year. They didn't use Kelce at all until the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're not even throwing to Kelce.
Travis, thank you so much for the call. Quickly, Ron is in Dallas, not happy this morning. The Cowboys, well, too little, too late, Ron. How'd you feel about the team?
This is Rodeo Ron calling from Dallas, Texas. And let me tell you, Jerry and Jones, let me tell you what you need to do this morning. You need to fire your son. You need to fire Mike McCarthy. You need to fire that old Zimmerman guy too. Make Al Harris the coach, and let's go. Because fire yourself afterwards because you suck, Jerry Jones. And remember, if you're not listening to 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Texas, drinking Jim Beam at 5 o'clock.
So I was with him, Rodeo Ron. I think that's an Odyssey station, so we're good.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're good. I wouldn't have let him keep going if we weren't on the Fan in Dallas, which we do love, and that's where Jerry Jones does his weekly interviews.
Yeah.
Love Sean and RJ. But here's the thing. Jerry's not going to fire himself, but I get why everyone's ticked off.
But he can't fire his son either. Let's be clear about that. Steven is not getting fired. Steven might be the best guy in that building for all we know.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's to blame for any of this stuff. I just don't want Cowboy fans saying, oh, we looked good in the fourth quarter. This is something to build on. I don't see it that way. You know, I don't see. I think I saw a team that was lucky to recover an onside kick. And I thought I saw more of a Baltimore Ravens team that doesn't realize that they've got to play a whole 60 minutes of football. The game doesn't stop after about, 45 minutes. And so, to me, this was fool's gold for Dallas if you think they've turned anything around.
I like his idea of putting Al Harris in as the head coach because that dude looks like he could get in there and stop the run. Because right now, nobody in a Cowboys uniform can stop the run.
It looks like he'd still play.
Is there a more obvious cliche than we came into the season saying, the Cowboys look good, except they probably can't stop the run. And now they can't stop the run. Like, what were they doing in the offseason, Maggie? What were they doing for 6 months when they were supposed to be all in? Why didn't they sign a bunch of big fat guys to stop the run?
Well, the funny part is that they kept talking about how devastating the Packers' loss was. And it led to so many decisions, not extending Mike McCarthy, all this stuff. And yet, did you actually watch the tape? Because you didn't fix one thing from that loss to the Packers in the playoffs. They ran it down your throat, and everyone has since.
Yeah.
Just the inept Cleveland Browns couldn't take advantage. And Cleveland may suck. And so now you gave up 200 rushing yards basically last week against the Saints and almost 300 yesterday.
Yeah. Real quick, what was your impression of Tom Brady yesterday calling that game? Because I did not, I'll be honest, like there were other games until the very end. Like I don't need to watch this. It seemed like a blowout.
He's getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now been 3 Cowboys games that he's called, right?
But he doesn't really stand out in any way to me. He could be one of the other guys on another game.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And I guess maybe it's a little fatigue just from doing all the Cowboys games. He was critical of Dak when Dak basically literally dropped the ball in the pocket.
He did have one of the worst calls of the weekend.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, when Lamar Jackson runs for a touchdown, he's like, you know how fast Lamar Jackson is? Fast.
Technically, spot the lie, EJ.
I know, but come on, Tom.
Spot the lie.
It's Magic Johnson's Twitter feed come to life.
Especially fast compared to Tom Brady.
Honestly, the Ravens do look so fast. So I guess
it was the pause. The pause, like you're waiting for a great line. Like he's gonna say something.
Is Tom Brady really a wordsmith?
We are clearly learning no.
There'd be at the end when the Cowboys made that rally, there'd be a 20-yard pass. And all he'd say would be like, there you go, Dak.
Yeah.
There was one point in the game, too, where he confirmed a cliche. I forgot what it was. Maybe you got to convert on third down. He's like, I know saying you got to convert on third down is a cliche, but you got to convert on these rides. I'm like, come on, don't say it's a cliche and then repeat it. Like, if you're going to say it's a cliche, maybe give a remix to it or say something different.
EJ, you're asking way too much right now.
I know. I want him to be good. It's crazy. I'm a Jets fan who actually wants Tom Brady to be good. And
I don't see it.
It's getting late. It's getting later.
He's fine. He's fine. It's totally fine. Did it ruin your Sunday in any way? I think he's going to be fine in the Super Bowl. First of all, even when Jason Witten was in the booth, he was one of the worst I've ever seen. The game was still super entertaining. I think Tom Brady's just totally fine. He's going to be. Is it his Super Bowl this year?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to take away from the Super Bowl in any way, and he'll be much better. I don't think you need him to be John Gruden yelling out, "Why Spider 2 banana" all game long.
Yeah. By the way, we got another Spider 2Y banana.
Yeah.
On Friday night at the Nebraska game. I was like, wow, I can't believe we're going to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gruden now has a YouTube channel that is the most bizarre YouTube channel on all of YouTube.
That's saying something.
If you have not seen this John Gruden right now, apparently he's completely lost his mind. But, yeah, I don't think you need that from Brady. He sounds like every other guy, which is fine.
Andrew Bogish is here with headlines. Good luck fitting all of this into an update.
Good morning, everybody. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. The Chiefs did what the Eagles could not back on Monday night, stop the Falcons in the final minutes. 2 late fourth down denials on Sunday Night Football for that 22-17 win in Atlanta. As for those Eagles, this time, they did close the deal in New Orleans.
Carr steps up, hit as he fires the football, and it is intercepted! It is intercepted by Reed Blankenship! It's intercepted by Reed Blankenship, and the Eagles are going to pull off the upset.
Merrill Reese on Eagles Radio, the INT coming with 48 seconds left, just 13 seconds after Saquon Barkley's go-ahead 4-yard TD run and 2-point conversion. Philly stealing a 15-12 win despite 2 turnovers from Jalen Hurts, a missed field goal, and 2 fourth-down miscues. Nick Sirianni might not be a good head coach, but he can philosophize.
You get better from your work, and you get better from your experiences. And sometimes losing, you grow a little bit more from that. Not that you want to do it, but you grow a little bit more from that. And these guys got better this week.
The Saints scored just 12 points yesterday.
Sure.
Had 200.
That's fine. Come on, Bogus. I think you were setting this up for something really stupid out of Sirianni. That was for him. That was a perfectly fine sound.
Wait, what were you just saying about Kyle Shanahan, about CYA? Sirianni. No, that loss was good last week. That was good. That's exactly what we needed.
That's adversity. I mean, we were just saying, somebody just called in. Last year, the Chiefs lost the Raiders, woke them up, and they started to play well. That's what the Eagles needed to blow that game against the Falcons. Now they're going to rally and go on a run.
You believe that?
You back on the bandwagon?
Not even a little bit.
So good.
No. I applied for Nick Sirianni's self-help course on YouTube.
I applied for his job. Like, I don't know. You might get it.
That's a perfectly normal coach thing to say. We rally because we lose. A lot of coaches say that. Like, they turn a loss into a win. And they did find a way to win. And the only thing that was unsatisfying as an Eagles fan yesterday, if the Giants had lost and Saquon Barkley had done what he did, I could have walked in here wearing all green and just rubbed it in Giants' faces forever. Because you got to admit, watching Saquon has to be a little tough for Giants fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing until he drops the third down 3.
Oh, I know. I had given up on him last week. I already forgot about that. Oh, I totally. That's ancient history.
He also quote tweeted the Giants post about like Malik Neighbors' great game, and he was like, "Yeah, go Brody, go that." And everybody in the comments was hating on him for like, "Why are you still talking about the Giants?"
Oh, Saquon did that?
He quote tweeted a post about Malik Neighbors.
Who he's not. It was never teammates with.
Never teammates with, and he like gassed him up and supported him. And everybody's like, "Why are you doing this?"
I think that Saquon's leaving the door open to still be like a quote-unquote Giants legend.
I
think he feels
sense.
bad about the whole Tiki Barber back and forth when Tiki said, "You're dead to us," and then Saquon tweeted something and then deleted it.
Deep down, I think he still wants to be a Giant.
I do too. And I think he's kind of keeping his options open. It's like I can be a legend in Philly and I can be a legend in New York, and I can sort of, there's a lot of years left after you play football.
He looks pretty happy in Philadelphia right now. I mean, the way it's going. I don't know why on that long touchdown, Marshawn Lattimore just ran alongside of him for 40 yards instead of tackling him. That was one of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen in my entire life. There were about 8 Saints who had an angle on him. I guess he must be shorter than you think. These guys just can't grab him. I don't know what's going on with him.
He's good. I told you this from the beginning. You're going to love him. I know the drop is huge, but
I'll be honest, I whiffed on that one. I did not think he was that good.
Meanwhile, now what do we do with the Saints? We'll get more into that. This was this vaunted Saints offense, and I believe I got a little flack for saying that they were fool's gold, but
I'm not done on the Saints. I can't quit Derek Carr.
You
give up on Derek Carr.
We got a 12-step program for that.
Yeah, you give up on Derek Carr, and then he'll pull out a 375-yard game against some weird team.
This is actually an intervention for Perloff. You need to quit Derek Carr. It's killing you.
Derek Carr? Wait, what's wrong with Derek Carr?
I'm just joking.
Yeah, Anyway.
Did you see the tweet? I think Bridget Condon, I don't know if she works for ESPN or NFL Network, but she was covering that game, and she said you could hear CJ Gardner-Johnson yelling from the Eagles locker room, they're pretenders. Yeah. I told you they've got Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same C.J. Gardner-Johnson who whiffed on a key tackle against the Falcons and lost the game single-handedly last week?
Same guy, yeah.
The ghost of C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Yeah, he gave an amazing 9-minute rant in the locker room. Let's see you tackle somebody.
Doesn't mean he's wrong with Derek Carr.
That was a bad interception by Carr. We'll get more into that game. What else do you have?
This didn't make any sense. The winless Broncos going to Tampa Bay and beating the unbeaten Bucks.
Play fake. Nix rolls to his right. Run it, Bo, to the 5. To the goal line, touchdown Denver.
Dave Logan, Broncos radio, Bo Nix listening, a short rushing touchdown in his first career win, 26-7. The Denver D had a takeaway and a fourth down stop in the fourth to stop any Tampa rally.
What was that game, by the way? I'm sorry. We haven't even talked about that one. What on earth happened to Tampa Bay?
I think finally, it depends what happens tonight with the Commanders. I may finally have a rookie quarterback break my list of top 5 rookies of the week.
Oh, Bo Nix, yeah.
Possible.
But actually, I don't think that was Bo Nix. I think that was Michael Vick last night. Why did Bo Nix become the fastest player on? It was Auburn Bo Nix. He was running like a mad. He's so fast. It is bizarre. You're right. You're right. It's kind of been thin on the wire, isn't it? But we get our guy Jaden Daniels.
That's what I'm saying. We get him tonight against the Bengals, but Caleb was bad yesterday and everything. Anyway. Step on your update.
The Philadelphia Phillies did not win the NL East last night, losing 2-1 at the Mets. New York takes 3 of 4 in this series. They are again tied with Arizona for the last 2 NL wildcards, with the Braves still 2 games behind them. The Cincinnati Reds have fired manager David Bell with 5 games left. They're 5 games under 500 in a season that began with playoff expectations. Asia Wilson won her 3rd WNBA MVP yesterday, then scored 21 points, blocked 5 shots. Her Aces took Game 1 from the Storm, 78-67. Wilson is the 2nd unanimous MVP ever and the 4th in league history to win it 3 times overall.
Wait, hold on one sec. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to do Caitlin?
Go ahead.
No. Do it, because then I've got a question for everybody after that.
Caitlin Clark, unanimous Rookie of the Year, but had a worst day on the court. 11 points, 4 of 17 shooting, and her Fever took a 93-69 thumping in Game 1 in Connecticut.
Yeah, that was rough. And Perloff and I have a bet that actually would benefit everybody in this room.
Right, we're all winners. The rest of us are all winners.
Right, you guys are, because either way, one of us has to buy breakfast tomorrow. But do we have any idea what the rating was for Caitlin's game? Because Perloff said it would be over 2 million. I said under because they're going up against the NFL. And it was a blowout.
Yeah, the blowout is not going to help the overall rating.
Yeah, how's that work? Like, do I get the peak rating? How's it?
I mean, they'll tell us the peak rating, which might be the number that you want, but the overall rating is probably going to be worse because people definitely turned that game because it was never close.
Jeez.
I didn't do my part.
I'm getting everything.
I had 3 screens going yesterday. I didn't turn that game on once. I'm like, because I remembered I get breakfast no matter what. So I don't need to affect the bottom line here. So let's go football.
I'm getting smoked salmon. I don't even like it.
Yeah.
I'm just ordering it. No, I'm not going to do a victory lap yet. You could possibly win this one.
I mean, she had most games, she gets over 1 million. So I thought playoff game over 2 million. By the way, that's not, this bet is not done. That was on ABC.
Yeah, my brother agrees with you, by the way. I was just randomly talking about it. He's like, oh, I think they're going to get 2 million. That's not that big a number.
Yeah, for her, that's not a big number at all.
Yeah,
I mean, the blowout hurts.
Wasn't good.
Yeah, I know, but
it's all right. It's her first
to
playoff game.
To know it's not good, you have to turn it to the game.
Yeah, there's no other way to know whether a game's bad.
If I was you, I would take solace. If the peak viewership is over 2 million, I would take solace in you being right. Even though in the end you might be wrong because the full game number might be lower than the 2 mil. But if it got to 2 mil early in the game, if they say from 3 to 3:30 there were 2.4 million people watching, then you were kind of right. You were half right because they would have stuck if the game was better.
I have no idea when they say the ratings were this, what they mean.
But also, we never said peak rating when we made the bet.
You know, I'm trying to ease the fall for Perloff here. That he might have been on his way to being correct, but then the game didn't do him a favor.
We'll see. I actually am not. You guys seem so positive that I lost this bet. I'm not totally sure.
Well,
I'm not positive,
we're gonna find out.
But I'm less positive than I was Friday.
Yeah, the fact that it was a blowout makes me concerned for your sake. Again, like Bogus said, I am getting a bacon, egg, and cheese with hot sauce either way.
No. Steak and eggs.
That's a little heavy for.
Doesn't matter.
If
I don't
Maggie
even need to
loses,
eat
you
it.
guys-
Just run up Perloff's bill.
By the way, if you guys are going to do the same energy if Maggie loses,
PB&J.
100%. For me,
English
I will.
muffin with butter.
Yeah.
Barely get to the delivery fee. All right, I think that's where we have to leave it. Bogus, thank you so much. See you guys on the phones. Want to talk about the Saints being dirty. You want to talk about everything else from yesterday. We have lots more to do, including a major mistake that was made yesterday. And it could have major ripple effects throughout the season. We'll get to that. Lots to do on this Monday. Glad to have you. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, week 3. Whoa. Doozy. Get to the phones. Talking about Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles rebound from what was a very tough loss last week on Monday Night Football. But the Saints kind of, not that they no-showed this game, but the offense just disappeared, and they had some major headshots to boot. D's in Portland wants to talk about it. You thought there were a couple dirty plays from the Saints, D?
Yeah, that hit that Devontae Smith got, that was dirty. He was already getting wrapped up by 2 players, then that third one comes from the back. And on top of that, he was on the ground, then he gets spit on. That's BS. And then that other one where that, I can't remember the player, but he's getting dragged all the way at the end, and then all the way at the bench. They're just a bunch of dirty players, front runners. You can tell during the whole game they were trying to run it when they couldn't run. You make Derek try to pass, you can't make those passes. Also, Jalen Hurts, you gotta make better decisions.
Yeah. He was not good yesterday.
Turnovers, come on, man.
Yeah.
No. I will not say. Yes, I agree. The Saints are totally dirty. Like I would have fought the whole team after that Devontae Smith catch. But Jalen Hurts
scary.
was good. Jalen Hurts had a good game.
I didn't. D, thank you so much for the phone call.
Oh my God, he pulled that game out of his you-know-what. He was.
Yeah, but he almost handed the game away, too. This was a game that didn't have a lot of scoring in it.
All the turnovers were in the first. I think they were in the first half, and you never felt for a second that he didn't have control of the game. Like, I was texting my friend. I'm like, oh, the Eagles are winning this game. Because the Saints, I don't know, they just like, the Eagles just kept giving away points, basically. They get down into the Saints territory and give it away. I thought Hurts played well. If you could get that game from Hurts every day, I'm taking it.
I mean, the interception, the
He
fumble.
had one interception. That interception
was stupid.
Was it stupid? I mean, if Devontae Smith was strong enough to stand up and went right to him, he just fell. That was definitely, PFF would not have hit Hurts with that interception. I didn't blame him for that. And yeah, Jalen Hurts and all these, like he makes a lot of plays by holding the ball. He's going to fumble occasionally. I really thought he had overall a really good game. Made a lot of plays, a lot of first downs.
Yeah, I didn't walk away being super impressed with Hurts. I mean, obviously the fourth quarter where you score 15 fourth quarter points, and it was really Saquon, and then you had that big play to Dallas Goedert. That was massive.
I mean, he had no Smith and no A.J. Brown threw for 300 yards. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys want out of Jalen Hurts. I know E.J. wants fantasy points. You're not getting that.
Yeah, I'm learning that the hard way, unfortunately, Hurts. Please stop turning the ball over.
We'll make sure to get that right to him. Kevin is in Oregon, has a thought on yesterday's game. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. You know, you guys were talking about Tom Brady. It's hard for me to believe that Fox replaced Greg Olsen with Tom Brady. I mean, they should have given Tom Brady some non-marquee games because Greg Olsen is so good at doing his color commentary. The other thing is, how about those Seattle Seahawks? They played terribly yesterday and still won. Who was that they were playing, Miami of Ohio?
Well, I mean, when you knock the backup quarterback out of the game, Kevin, you should win that one. And I actually thought it was interesting that Seattle really couldn't run up the score on Miami. Yeah. They scored late to make it a little bit more of a margin. But that game was 17-3, I felt like, for 48 minutes of the game.
It felt like it was a blowout that never happened.
Yeah.
It was really terrible. I mean, you know, I'm looking at some of these teams that did well early. Seattle, Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I mean, did we really expect that those teams this was going to last, that these teams were going to be playoff contenders? I just don't think so.
Well, at least Seattle went to 3-0. I mean, you caught, and Kevin, thank you for the call. You caught a Dolphins team that's reeling. I mean, Skylar Thompson leaves the game. They're saying it's a rib, fractured rib. Sure, looked like a concussion or something like that. But
oh yeah,
there's like
I didn't
a
even
chest
think about
injury.
that. So Seattle's been early Bo Nix, then they beat Bryce Young, and now Skylar Thompson / Tim Boyle. It's hard to determine what that 3-0 means.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're encouraged a bit by the defense. Yeah, why not?
There was one play. There's my favorite player maybe is DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
He caught this sort of half bomb pass, and he was even with the cornerbacks. They were about to catch him. Then he put on the rocket fuel. He is spectacular. And Zach Charbonnet is pretty cool too.
I have the Seahawks winning the NFC West, so I'm sure hoping that this is not fool's gold. And,
I mean, they have every chance right now.
The other thing, why did Fox replace Greg Olsen with Tom Brady?
Oh,
well,
I mean, star power.
Yeah, I mean, that's just TV executive 101ing right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, if Tom Brady, even if he's bad, he's going to get more eyeballs than Greg Olsen.
Yeah, I don't think the announcers really impact the ratings, but right now they'll take Tom Brady being terrible over the best Greg Olsen game because TV network executives love stars. Okay, coming up, we get to the Cowboys. Woof.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Lamar fakes it jet sweep, keeps it on the quarterback read option, and he's out to the 45-yard line. Let's see the exact spot. First down, Ravens, and with 1:48 in Dallas left to play for the first time in 2024, the Hayes in the barn.
Ravens radio on that call, and that was the one that sealed it. It was a furious comeback by the Dallas Cowboys offense. Finally, they woke up a little bit, but I think that was a little more to do with the Ravens kind of thinking they had this thing won. Perloff. Welcome to the show, by the way, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I think there's going to be a few people who think, oh, okay, maybe the Cowboys found something here at the end of the game. Maybe you use that as momentum. Next week you play the Giants, so maybe you go in and you kind of steamroll the Giants or what have you. I would not do that if I were a Cowboy fan. The panic feels good right now if I'm a Cowboy fan because all the things that I was worried about heading into the season seem to be coming to fruition. They cannot stop the run. You do not need to be a football savant to realize how this team is broken.
I totally understand what you're saying, but you have to understand one thing about this game. Lamar Jackson was not walking out of there with a loss. As I said on Friday, he's going to run every time because the Ravens were so desperate. So I wonder, I hate to say it, they play the Giants next week. They're not going to face a rushing attack like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I'm hoping this is the high water mark of the Cowboys' bad run defense. And it can't get worse. This was a tough assignment. This was a desperate Ravens team with Derrick Henry, who should be wearing a star on his helmet. They should have signed that guy. And Lamar you saw when the game got close to the end, Lamar's like, I'm not going to pass the ball at all. I'm just going to run every play. So will you at least give that consideration when you kind of rip the Cowboys here?
Well, no, Zay Flowers, remember, had a really big catch at the end of the game, too, which was important.
They one throw.
Yeah, one throw. But again, that was a big one. Will I give the Cowboys that consideration? No, I will not. Because there is a formula to beat this team. Now, they might get lucky, the Cowboys, and they might just play teams that are way less talented than them. But I think that even if you're less talented than the Cowboys, it's such an easy formula, easy for me to say, but it's an easy formula on how to beat them that even if you aren't as talented, you should probably win the game. Or there's at least a path, a clear path. That's the most frustrating thing about a football team, Perloff, when you're supposed to be good. Not like a team that's going to win 2 games or 3 games. Okay, that's whatever, a lost season. When you have a team that's supposed to be good and the book is out on you and you still can't do anything to change your fortunes outside of garbage time, get lucky with the onside kick. Zay Flowers, bad job there. But you get lucky with the onside kick and all of a sudden now Dak looks good. It almost feels worse because you might trick yourself into thinking that this is actually, you found something here when you haven't. The book is out on the Cowboys. You get an early lead, you run the ball, you will win the game.
Okay, are you betting against them next week against the Giants?
Well, I don't know if the Giants have the personnel to be able to do this, but I did say that the Cowboys were not going to make the playoffs this year, and I feel a tiny bit better about that.
Yeah, and then they go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh should have the formula to run on them, but
They
then
will
again,
lose that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're burying the Cowboys too soon.
Well, I think they deserve to be buried. And I know that the Ravens were desperate, and I get it that they are set up uniquely to take advantage of the Cowboys, but show a little backbone because, by the way, you should have been desperate too. And we just talked about the Ravens coming in 0-2. The Cowboys have just gotten the break speed off of them by the Saints, who lost to your Eagles yesterday. It's not like the Saints are this true juggernaut. They just got off to a hot start. The Cowboys should be embarrassed by this.
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, the Ravens are a way better team. I think the Eagles would get destroyed by the Ravens too. I just think that you don't have to be great to win the NFC East this year. You saw the Eagles have major injury concerns. I think Dallas just needs to hang around and beat the teams that they should beat. Baltimore's not one of those teams. I mean, if they kill the Giants next week, I'd like to see you hold on to this energy.
I'm going to, because the Giants, yes, they went and beat Cleveland. Big whoop. Like, that is not going to make me think, oh my gosh, the Giants really have something here. It doesn't.
The Giants could try that formula. Who's their guy? They have Motor, Singletary, right?
They have Singletary.
And Daniel Jones can run, so maybe they try and do what the Ravens did. And the Steelers the same way. I don't think those are going to be two losses. In fact, and I like the fact that the Steelers can, they're 3-0, but they can't score any points. Maybe that gives the opportunity to the Cowboys. We'll see.
We'll get into the Steelers. They go to 3-0, beating the Chargers at home yesterday, but Justin Herbert leaves the game with an ankle injury. Let's hear a little Jerry Jones. Why not? Actually, Ryan, let's start with cut 8, please. Jerry Jones says the Cowboys couldn't get out of their own way, but is taking some positives from the comeback.
It just seemed like we couldn't get out of our own way. But it's just a reminder of what this game is about. They can take some of what they showed out at the end of that game, and we can go forward with that.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's happening here. More from Jerry said the team looked ragged.
We were ragged in a lot of areas, and that can be improved on.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff, there's a saying, Perloff, and I don't know if this is a little bit more for women, like when you get your makeup professionally done, that it's not a scalpel, okay? Like, you can only change so much of what you look like with makeup. They're artists. They're not plastic surgeons, okay? You're still going to look like you. And I think I'm reminded that Jerry, who knows a little something about plastic surgery, would understand this. I think that they're asking the coaching staff to, coach up these guys, but the talent's not there. See, to me, this is Jerry pushing this on the coaching staff when I think it's the front office who didn't do enough. And there's 100 reasons for that, but you couldn't stop the run last year. You can't stop the run this year. You didn't make meaningful upgrades to try to stop the run. In fact, you didn't make meaningful upgrades on anything. So congrats, you paid Dak Prescott, you paid CeeDee Lamb, and all that stuff got done, so good for you. But where was the meaningful upgrade to actually address this need?
Yeah, it's not working. Hopefully Mozzie Smith gets better. They got Overshawn back and it looked good in week 1. Of course, as you point out, they need to get the lead to unleash those pass rushers.
Exactly. Playing against the Cleveland Browns turns out is not the litmus test that really matters.
The key games are coming up for the Cowboys. This was going to be this is a tough game. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
If they're 1-2 now, they have very tough games. Detroit and San Francisco are on that, but San Francisco has so many injuries. Atlanta can't move the ball offensively. I'm looking at all their competition. They still are lined up to beat Philadelphia. They know how to beat Philadelphia very well. Dak owns the Eagles. I'm telling you, you might be burying them a little too soon not because they're good in any way and not because they can stop the run, but the NFC East is not great, Maggie.
That's fine, but it's comical to tell me that you think the Cowboys are going to beat the 49ers. No shot. The 49ers could roll out there with the 4 of us, and I feel like the Cowboys would lose.
I mean, the 49ers, did you see Trent Williams go up and down?
I did, but
I just think if that
the Cowboys never beat the 49ers lately.
Yeah, I don't know who the 49ers are throwing out there by then. It doesn't look like Ayuk's the same person anymore.
That is true. We'll talk more about the 49ers. Now, disappointing that game was for them. You had it. You had a division win in your grasp where you're down a lot of players, the Rams are down a lot of players, and you just had a chance to just like go in, win a game on the road, feel a little bit better about yourself, and instead the exact opposite happens where you allow the Rams to steal that from you literally in the final seconds of the game. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, on the road, technically on the road.
Right. I get it.
You have 80,000 people cheering for you in LA. I don't know if that's really on the road.
Does the almost comeback matter for the Cowboys? You heard Jerry Jones. It matters to him. He thinks that they can build off of this. Does it matter to you, Cowboys fans? The almost comeback. The near comeback. To me, no. If I'm voting on that poll, which I'm assuming is a poll, yes, EJ's saying yes. On X. Doesn't matter. 855-212-4227. I like Who Dat for Life says, watch the Cowboys beat the 49ers because Maggie overlooks them. I don't think I have that kind of power. I'm just going off the history.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing where this is going with the Cowboys. They're a hard team to read. You never know what they're going to do.
You know, the funny thing, though, you said that Derrick Henry, who makes his home in Dallas in the offseason, trains in Dallas, the whole thing yesterday, he should be on the Cowboys. He wanted to be on the Cowboys. He finds himself on the Ravens. It's not a bad landing spot. But I think the interesting question is, I feel like you and I argued about this, actually, Perloff. Yeah. Not having a great running back and trying to do this for the Cowboys with 3 different running backs. And Zeke even missed an easy pass, sort of easy pass yesterday, and Dak was off. But is this coming back to haunt them? The fact that they never really shored up that room and never really took care of it, I think you're seeing now. It was a bad idea. It was a bad formula they missed. Yeah,
well, it's funny you were talking about the run defense. I mean, my grandmother's faster than Ezekiel Elliott, and she sadly has passed.
Oh, boy.
No, I actually didn't know where that was going, but he's so washed. I love Deuce Vaughn, but he's not meant to be a primary running. He's not meant to be a between the tackles guy. And Rico Daddle's just okay. No, that was a disaster. That, to me, if you look at this offseason, by the way, the rookie linemen have been making rookie mistakes, as you'd expect. So I thought they could fill in. Listen, those are problems. I'm not going to lie. But you saw, Dak is going to light up some bad teams. That's what the Cowboys do. They're definitely going to – they're not going to be 3 and – the way you're describing them is everyone's going to run over them and use this formula. It's just not going to happen because there are a lot of teams that can't do what the Ravens do. I'm not as panicky as you at all.
855-212-4227. Okay, so you're welcome to weigh in on the Cowboys. Who do you put the loss on? And did the almost comeback mean anything to you? The almost comeback? I mean, the loss is either on the run defense. Is it more on Jerry and the front office not actually going all in, or is it on the players on the field?
Jerry kind of took a shot at our buddy Matt Mosley, too. Doomsday Podcast, good friend of the show. He asked, why didn't you sign Henry? He goes, well, why can't you afford a mansion? We just we didn't have the money. I was like, whoa,
that
Jerry,
got personal.
Why are you going after Matt, who actually probably has a very big house? So I don't even know what he was talking about.
It's like, Matt has got 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have now heard Jerry answer this question about not signing Derrick Henry at least 200 times. Isn't it weird? And he just keeps on answering it. Like, why didn't you say I already addressed that? I already addressed that in the off season.
Jerry will never say I already addressed that. He's like, thank you again for asking me again. Yeah. Why am I here if not to address that
Has he ever said I've already, Belichick would always say that. I already said that. You can look at the transcript from Tuesday.
Yeah,
he used to say that all the time. Jerry's never once said that.
Yeah, because Belichick's there so he won't get fined. Jerry's there voluntarily. No one's ever like, we really got to hear from the owner today. It said nobody in history. Also, how funny was this last night, Sunday Night Football, if you guys missed that? The Chiefs hang on and beat the Falcons, but Arthur Blank, the owner of the team, was put into the Ring of Honor. I'm like, wow, what a prestigious honor. You put yourself in your own Ring of Honor.
Should that be allowed?
I mean,
I feel like Arthur Blank, that's fine.
He's been nice to us. It's not about that. But who
he seems like a cool owner of all the owners.
Listen, of all the owners, I've got my thoughts on billionaires, but that's fine. I think it's immoral to be a billionaire, but that's me. I just think that who is the brown-nosing employee who came up with this idea?
By the way, Maggie wearing a pink shirt when she makes that comment. I'm just saying.
What?
Well, I'm just, that's a communist theory that it's immoral to be a billionaire. But
why communists don't wear pink? This is way too flashy. You got to wear dark drab colors, don't you?
Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Regardless, Arthur Blank, he always shows up at the sideline. Like he's always like, because the Falcons are always in a game in the last 2 minutes, and he's always there.
If I were him, just because I'm really superstitious, when I came down to the sideline for 28-3, I would have never been on the sideline again. He came down during the Super Bowl. They thought they had the game won. I would have never, ever, ever come down to the sideline again, but he's still doing it.
Well, you think about it, Atlanta's never like in a 35-14 game. It's always coming down to, and Kirk Cousins seems to lend himself to that. Like he doesn't show up until he needs to. I don't even know how we got onto Atlanta. But can we also share an important statistic from this segment?
Yeah.
Perloff, 2 for 2 on the impersonations. I could tell Ryan Botcher on the other side of the glass impressed. Both Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick nailed.
Oh, the second one I didn't even realize. The first one I did. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, that was Belichick? Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were just talking. Yeah, Pearl nailed it.
2 for 2, baby. Batting 1,000 today.
That was perfect. David is in Texas. Not happy with the Cowboys. What's up, David?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to say, we've gone off and paid Dak and CD, but we're going to suffer for the next several years, just like every team has ever paid a quarterback who hasn't proven himself. Kirk Cousins has done it everywhere he's gone. They've paid him big money, and they've never had enough money to help him out. So that's just where we're at. You're not going to be able to help your defense. You're not going to be able to help your offense. You're just stuck. That's where you're at.
David, the thought did cross my mind yesterday. Thank you for the phone call about when Dak was playing pretty poorly and so badly in the first 3 quarters. Even Tom Brady was kind of calling it out, which takes a lot. And I thought about something you said. I think you did this for a Sports Minute, actually, recently, and I think it seeped into my brain. Everyone who got paid this offseason, who's doing well?
Well, the only $50 million quarterback to win any games was Justin Herbert, and he's doing nothing.
And now he got hurt.
It's been a disaster. All the new $50 million quarterbacks have been terrible.
But in just everybody who got paid.
Yeah.
Like CeeDee Lamb has been bad.
Has CeeDee Lamb been, actually, I have not been aware of that. Has he been bad? Has he dropped the ball?
I thought yesterday he was not good. And he's getting called out for his body language is bad. There were a lot of things that looked like the Packer game yesterday for most of that game until a feverish comeback attempt by the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, also there's some injury. Like Tua got hurt, Jordan Love got hurt. So I don't know if you call that bad. Trevor Lawrence has been bad. We'll see. I mean, you're a bit nervous that he'll bounce back.
Totally. Tonight, Monday Night Football, Jags and Buffalo.
But, I think the key issue is guys who held out. It really has hurt them. And I always said, oh, don't worry. I think I said that about the Bengals and the Niners. I'm like, don't worry. These are just negotiations. I'm not going to play into that. And you said, well, I don't know. They might come out a little rusty. And I poo-pooed you. They've been a little rusty, these holdout guys.
No doubt. And the thought did cross my mind. I was like, man, did the Cowboys make a mistake with Dak Prescott?
Oh.
By giving him all that money?
Yeah.
Dak had a message for you haters out there.
Yeah? What was the message?
He said, jump off if you want to.
Fine. I'm
Maggie's
off.
way off.
I said they weren't making the playoffs before the season.
That was a little bold of him to be like walking off the field and I don't know. I just something about Dak Prescott is starting to bother me when it comes to the level of like corniness when it comes to like these moves of like talking to the media about, oh, I don't play for the money.
Right.
And then like you sign the richest contract or jump off when you want to. It's like, well, your team was losing by like 20 points again at home. Like at some point, like, can we just acknowledge what's happening?
Right.
Can we acknowledge that you're in a long contract dispute because you want to be the highest paid? Can we acknowledge that people are down on your team because you keep failing in the playoffs and you keep, not showing up in these home games and these big premier like atmospheres? Like, it's like they live in a whole universe. Maybe it's the Jerry aspect. Maybe Jerry rubbing off on him. It feels like he lives in another world sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like you're getting gaslit a little bit by, when there's just the message is so not what you're actually seeing on the field.
And it'd be different if, like, this was a guy where you're talking about you've won Super Bowls. You've taken this team so deep. It's like, oh, you guys are going to doubt on us now? All right.
Like when Aaron Rodgers says it.
Exactly.
Even though Rodgers hasn't won in a long time and now he's playing for the Jets, when he said, listen, you want to get off now, then don't come back on. Like, I didn't like that move that when Rodgers said that, because I'm like, you don't know the Jets fan base. They've been through a lot. But at least Rodgers has a lot more gravitas to say that
he has a
than
track
Dak.
record to stand on. Like, what track record does Dak Prescott have to tell Cowboys fans, jump off the bandwagon now if you want to? They've been waiting to jump. They've been ready. They've been like, I'm one more game and I can't do this anymore. And he's like, oh, go ahead and do it. It's like, well, you put them on the ledge, dude. You put them on the ledge.
Big Dave jumped.
Yeah, he's gone already.
He's a Bengals fan
I know.
now.
He's Who Dey Nation now. Who Dat Nation, or whatever the hell they call it. Who Dey.
855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. Again, we're on our rundown is literally every single team in the league. But if you want to make sure your team gets in on the show, then you've got to call us. 855-212-4227. Coming up, whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend, not just in the NFL, but college as well. We'll get to that next with the M&P 500.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It was an emotional Sunday for me. Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. The Eagles lost the game to the Saints and won the game against the Saints, and it went back and forth. Saints don't do anything all day. Then Chris Olave somehow catches a ball like a ballerina. That was the craziest touchdown that he kept his feet in bounds, and I thought the Eagles were lost. 3rd and 16. Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert. Eagles win. I'm still not sure what happened. I'm still not sure if Nick Sirianni's a good coach. But
I don't know if he knows what happened.
The Eagles are 2-1, and the Saints are 2-1.
Yeah, Chris is in Birmingham. So, Chris, you called up last week. I said I thought the Saints were fool's gold at 2-0, and you said thank you for doubting the Saints because you thought it would put a chip on their shoulder or you guys could be under the radar. How you feeling today after that loss to the Eagles?
I won't give the Eagles any kind of credit. We did everything we can to literally lose that game on offense because we couldn't convert. It was literally the Packers game all over again from last year. Like, we win in the plus turnover margin, block punt, INT, recovered fumble. Nick Sirianni did everything he can to lose the game, too.
Everything.
Because you wouldn't respect the defense, and we literally should have capitalized off all 5 of those opportunities. So,
Chris, Chris, real quick. Taysom Hill is in that game. Do the Saints win the game?
Possibly. Hell, you can say the same thing when my offensive lineman went down, my starting center went down. But I digress. No use crying over that spilled milk. But can we not give the Cowboys any kind of notoriety, please, guys? Like,
I'm not. I did not think there was anything to build on at the end.
Don't even give that game a breath of fresh air worth talking about, okay?
Chris, we'll try. This is going to be tough, though, for the Saints, and thank you for the phone call. At Atlanta next week, and then at Kansas City, then Tampa, then Denver, and I don't know what Denver's going to look like. Denver, all of a sudden, their defense looked really good against Tampa yesterday. Bo Nix looked fine.
Do you know how any of those teams you just said are going to look?
I don't.
Atlanta will be like, just fast forward to 30 seconds left. Which coach makes a dumber move is up for grabs. And then the Chiefs are definitely going to play to the last second and get a good call.
I know they'll win, though.
And then the Bucks, who knows?
Yeah, that's a little crazy. All right, we do this on Mondays and sometimes on Fridays. Let's hit the M&P 500.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, this is where we go stock up, stock down after what we saw this weekend. Perloff, you want to hit us off with a stock up? You want to go first?
Well, I don't know if this is a stock up or a stock down on all the haters, but a certain redheaded quarterback made a statement this weekend. Andrew James Dalton III lit up. Who did the Panthers beat again? I can't even remember. Whatever.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, right. Well, the Raiders, I mean, who cares about that? But so Andy Dalton looks amazing in an offense that reportedly did not work. All of a sudden, in the first half, Andy Dalton throws for 3 touchdowns, no picks, over 200 yards. It was incredible, a wonderful day for my buddy, and I'm so happy. I don't know if they build on that, but it did show you how bad Bryce Young is.
It's amazing to me. And, you know, Diana Rossini had basically reported, I don't know if she was reporting this, but she said that Bryce Young will never play for the Carolina Panthers ever again. But they're going to wait till the offseason to trade him. I'd trade him right now if you could find anyone to take him. But
you got a 6th-round pick.
I don't know what's going to be in the offseason. Any better? I doubt it. Andy Dalton did look fantastic. For me, stock up. How about a little ShedeurSanders? How in the heck did they convert that Hail Mary? I've watched it 20 times. It's like the most amazingly casual catch. in the end zone.
It was
right,
kind of open.
yeah, but like kind of not. It's like through the hands of the defender, kind of. It was as
But I mean,
to
for
the
a Hail
ground.
Mary, there was like
Not a lot of traffic.
That was bizarre. And by the way, and there was another one that Shedeur threw down there that should have been a
That was
touchdown
dropped.
as well.
The play before, you thought, all right, that was the opportunity, and they blew it. And then here comes ShedeurSanders and throws the Hail Mary. I know our own Andrew Kaplan, big Colorado Buffs fan, alum from Colorado. This was an unreal moment, and really probably saved at least the vibes for Colorado to beat Baylor like that. And now we'll see what else happens in Big 12 play. But that was a big win for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, but
and Shedeur's arm is amazing.
It was a big win, but where's it lead? I mean, is this team any good?
I mean, good. They're trying to make a bowl, right?
Is that what we're talking about? So now, just to be clear, that's what we're talking about with Colorado now.
I think that's what we're talking about. I don't think we're talking about college football playoff. I think we're talking about a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean,
gotta be able to stop the
some
run.
people thought moving to the Big 12 would make things a lot easier because of Pac-12. So, okay, we've already lowered our expectation of making a bowl, and even that's still going to be tough. Okay, stock down. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins front office. This is your answer at quarterback, Skylar Thompson, who I guess had one good game against the Bills, and then your emergency quarterback is Tim Boyle. I don't understand. You have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You probably should add a better backup to Tua. I've seen reporters say that Tua didn't really want competition in the building. And now you have this faith that Tua is going to come back and do anything. You haven't won a playoff game since 2000, and I don't see any future playoff wins.
Why was Huntley not in the game yesterday? He doesn't know the playbook yet, or what?
He was not active.
He wasn't active.
Yeah, he was the third emergency quarterback.
But Tim Boyle just got there, too. I just guess he's older and knows every playbook at this point, right?
Knows every playbook.
Not well.
Yeah. Knowing it and executing it, two very different things. You're right. The Dolphins have to do something now, right?
Well,
they have to make a move. You can't just wave the white flag on the season. It's September 23rd.
You don't think the Tim Boyle, Snoop Huntley combo is going to get it done?
Nah,
I mean, maybe they think Tua's back in 4 weeks. They really might.
Yeah, and then what happens? And then he's out again. Like, he gets hit one more time. It could be career ending. Okay, that's a stock down. I got a stock down for you. How about the Houston Texans offensive line? How do you get called for 4 pre-snap penalties in the same drive?
It's loud.
Great. Okay, so stock up Minnesota fans.
Yeah, it's huge stock up for those fans.
11 penalties, 88 yards. I guess so. I don't know. At some point, yeah, it's loud, but you can't have 4 pre-snap penalties on the same drive. You were basically at a 3rd and 5, I think, at the 25, and you had to punt it or kicking a field goal.
Blame the highest paid left tackle in the league, I think, or one of them, and Laramie Tunsil. What did he have? 4 ball starts in a row or something?
Tunsil was awful, and so I guess Minnesota fans for sure. We'll talk about Sam Darnold and talk about Brian Flores' defense, and all of that is great. But for me, boo on the Texans offensive line.
Okay, stock up real quick. I know we're running out of time here. Can we talk about Malik Neighbors? I know Andrew Bogus is in. You know how good you have to be as a wide receiver to make Daniel Jones look good? I mean, Malik Neighbors is putting that theory to the test. Daniel Jones is throwing it a good 4 feet away from him, and he is pulling kind of Odell Beckham Jr. moves. That guy is awesome. I told everyone here he's going to be awesome. I told everyone, do not draft a quarterback. Draft Malik Neighbors because he will make any quarterback better, and he is even better than I thought. That guy is a superstar for the Giants.
You're right. He is amazing.
Can't pass, though.
Yeah, 0 for 1 on pass attempt.
Not a quarterback.
Does it bother you, Bogus, seeing Daniel Jones get touchdowns when he didn't deserve them?
No, it does not bother me. It bothered me the Giants being down 7-0 after 11 seconds. And then it bothered me when I thought Deshaun Watson was going to stumble into a touchdown and win that game 22-21. But all the in-between stuff was fun.
Did it bother you when the Browns, of course, fumbled in the red zone to cost themselves a game?
No, I'd say I wanted a win. They should stack some more losses, the Giants, and then throw another win in, and then that'll be good for the year. That's all I need.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Okay, one more stock up, stock down as the MP500. I'm going to go with the Michigan defense. Stock back up for Michigan. You get blown out by Texas, and everyone's writing your obituary. Comeback, very nice win against USC. And that was a really exciting game. We'll talk more about that. But the defense showed up again. The offense is atrocious for Michigan. They cannot pass the ball. The rushing offense is fine. They cannot pass the ball. But Michigan defense should get the credit for that win. And they beat USC.
Yeah. I had to stock up Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. That guy is Give him me in the NFL. He is super.
How about Will Johnson?
I know
he was like, I know he didn't finish the game,
hurt,
but like, you want to talk about jumping on a route? I mean, it looked like he had a rocket ship on his back. I mean, he just flew to get that pick six.
They were talking about him being a number 1 overall pick. I mean, that's not going to happen. It'll probably be a quarterback, but still. Okay, a stock down, Perloff. Who's your last one?
Oh, I thought we were done here.
I've got one for you.
Give me one more stock down.
It's got to be Derek Carr. You know, the interception at the end, you didn't need that. That was a bad interception. This is what happens.
How much time was left, though? That same thing happened to Jalen Hurts last week.
I know, but you had like 35 seconds. I think you had another timeout. You do not need to be going for that much on that play, in my opinion. That was a terrible
You're
pick.
acting like 30. It's not Patrick Mahomes. 30 seconds is not a lot of time.
But you only need a field goal.
You have to push it downfield. I don't know. I thought Derek Carr, again, I can't believe I'm defending Derek Carr. That was a weird game. Dennis Allen probably cost him at least 17 points.
You have a stock down, or you want to hand it to
Let's
Bogus?
hand it to Bogus.
Okay, there you go. MP500, stock up, stock down for the weekend. Bogues, what do you have?
I got headlines sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code M&P to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. So you guys had a caller last hour who said the Chiefs are called for more penalties than we think. But last weekend, the officials did correctly call PI on the Bengals, giving KC a chance for the winning field goal. Then last night in Atlanta, PI should have been called against the Chiefs in the end zone, giving the Falcons a chance at the go-ahead points, but the flag never came. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris wanted no part of this discussion post-game.
I like my money that Arthur Blank gives me. I'm very smart enough to be aware enough to talk about officials. They made the call, or they didn't make the call. It is what it is. We had a chance to win the football game on the last play of the game.
The Falcons did miss on the ensuing fourth down, then again on their last possession, letting the Chiefs leave town with a 22-17 win and a 3-0 start. But Patrick Mahomes says he specifically is far from perfect right now.
I feel like I haven't played very well, and that's not a stats thing. I just feel like I'm missing opportunities whenever they're out there and not throwing the ball in the exact spot I want it to be at. So it's about me getting back to my fundamentals, putting our guys in the right position, and then we got to execute at a higher level offensively.
But again, they're 3-0. They're not the Titans, who are 0-3 after getting run over by Malik Willis and the Packers 30-14 in Nashville. You may remember that Willis was a Titan until a late summer trade. Matt LaFleur very thankful Tennessee gave up on him.
What he's been able to do is I've never seen something like this. So hats off to him. Hats off to everybody around him. Guys rallying, having his back.
Will Levis, meanwhile, 3 more turnovers. This is the Titans' worst start since 0-6 in 2009. They've lost 21 of their last 27 games overall. The Mets, meanwhile, have won 18 of 23, including 3 of 4 from the Phillies this weekend.
First pitch on the way, hit deep to right field. Will the wind hold this one back? Castellanos at the track, at the wall, he jumps. Gone! A home run! Ow. Brandon Nimmo cuts one through the wind just beyond the grasp of the right fielder, Nick Castellanos.
Breaking a 1-1 tie in the 6th, Howie Rose on Mets radio. Edwin Diaz got the final 6 outs of a 2-1 victory. The Mets are currently the second wild card, winning a tie with Arizona. The Braves 2 games behind them. New York is in Atlanta 4-3 starting tomorrow. The 62 Mets, the 1962 Mets, they've got some company this morning. The White Sox losing in San Diego yesterday 4-3. That is loss number 120, matching those expansion Mets for the most since 1900. They've got a full week to go. I'm assuming they're going to lose at least one more time, and they'll have the record all to themselves.
Wow, I'm sure they're super proud.
Well, this is what EJ wanted, though, right? Finish the deal.
So happy. This is what we needed. You don't want to be the second worst team ever. You just want to be the worst.
I guarantee they'd rather be the second worst. Those players would rather be nobody remembers second worst. We're still talking about the Mets. They wrote a whole book about that bad team.
And then there is a weird group of within Met fans that didn't want the White Sox to get there because they've grown to love the infamy of 40 and 120 and 62. They wanted to keep this for themselves.
This is like the bizarro Mercury Morris, who passed away over the weekend. So may he rest in peace. Where he used to pop the champagne when the last undefeated team would go down. preserve, the undefeated season.
But at least that's an
like
accomplishment.
I know. That's why I don't understand why anyone's rooting for their team to be the worst and to remain the worst of all time.
No, it's
silly.
We're the Mets. I think there's a little bit of a personal thing of like, oh, we went and then became the Miracle Mets in '69. Yeah. I think there's some of that reason why they like that. No, if you're a White Sox fan, you suffered through this horrendous season. I want history to be made. I want to be able to tell my kids, look, little boy, like we're like the White Sox I watched were the worst team you've ever seen, and I sat through all of it. Like what story
do you want,
is
a
there?
medal for that?
This is your World War II. I'm confused.
Honestly, your kid would be like,
this is my
"Get a
Normandy."
life." I mean, why did you keep watching when they kept losing all that whole time? No, you always want to lose in anonymity.
Are you going to call your son Little Boy?
Little Boy Stewart.
I mean, I didn't want to give away a future name for what I would want my son to be named. So I was like, I'm not keep that to myself.
It's as if you don't remember his name. Hey, Little Boy here in the living room.
Gather around, son. Wait, did we ever figure out EJ's middle name?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, he guessed like. If this was a password on like a website, you would have been locked out.
Oh, yeah.
Like
the machine would have set us up on fire. Yeah. Like, we are self-destructing.
It was Jay, right?
Yes. He gave me like a rapid fire, 60 names, and finally came down to one. I was like, all right, I guess he won.
Did the chat ever guess it? The Weedos and Coffee Drinkers?
I don't think they did, no.
But I think they went with Jebediah.
Yeah, they're just going with Jebediah from now on. And that and Jehoshaphat. Those are the two that they like.
That would have been really cool of your parents.
And when I got it, you made me promise not to say it, and I've kept my mouth shut for months now.
I know.
Is today the day?
It's all locked up.
I feel like you guys should have to guess again.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember all the names we guessed. Because if it's something like Joseph, I'm going to feel like a real idiot.
It's not. It's not.
All right.
What was the one you just said? Josephat?
Josephat.
That almost sounds like Boba Fett. What planet are you from? Which star system? Caitlin Clark's postseason debut, forgettable. 11 points, 2 of 13 from 3. Her Fever took a 93-69 beating from the Sun, but Clark did somehow win Rookie of the Year unanimously yesterday morning. A'ja Wilson, a unanimous MVP. Second player to do that. Fourth win, 3 MVPs total. She then posted 21 points, 8 boards, 5 blocks as her Aces took game 1 with Seattle 78-67. And Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama remain atop the AP college football poll. Tennessee is now number 5, and I believe the U is up to number 7.
Wow.
Let's go.
Let's go. Beat Ball
Tough
State.
schedule. Yeah.
Hey, beat South Florida this week. Relax.
Yeah. I can't wait till they get into the Final Four and get blown out in their first playoff game. I mean,
we'll see.
relishing
not the Final Four, baby.
Wow.
The Final 12.
Right, I'm just
they
saying.
get to the Final Four.
But
Congrats.
won't they be a top 4 seed because they're going
if they win the conference? Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying.
Right,
I know it's 12. I'm just saying they're definitely going to ease into this thing. Because what's the toughest team they play? Louisville, or they don't?
Probably Louisville.
Who's what? 19?
Is Lamar Jackson still there?
No, Lamar. Unfortunately, he I don't know if he graduated, but he definitely has no more eligibility. I can say that much.
Well, it's definitely not North Carolina.
No, it's definitely not North Carolina. It's definitely not Florida State. Yeah.
Hey, Georgia Tech. We thought maybe for a minute. There's no one.
The seas have parted. Right. But my question, though, is why is
Clemson?
Perloff,
you'll play in the ACC championship.
Yeah, that's going to be the game, I think. But why is Perloff like?
I can't.
Why are you wishing for my downfall? I don't root against the Eagles. I only root against the Sixers and the Phillies. That's it. Those teams have a direct line to my team's success. We have no beef with Penn State or whatever Philly school you want to, claim this week. Like, why are you hating on the Hurricanes?
What'd you do to Dartmouth, EJ?
Right, Miami's not. They're not playing Dartmouth. Sorry.
Because I think the only level of humility you have is how bad your teams are. If you come in here,
wow.
If you come in here,
wow,
come in here,
I'll see myself out.
You're just going to be so uber confident for the U is good because all fans of the U are exactly this way. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
Burn.
Wow.
All the things. After everything we've been through.
Wow.
Rush Hour 1,
is that
Rush Hour 2.
I didn't mean that as a burn.
That was bad.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Greek chorus. You were doing an impersonation of Jerry Jones? That was Bill Belichick? That was a burn.
That wasn't meant as a burn.
You said his only level of humility.
Oh, my gosh.
It's because your teams suck.
Perloff's like, what?
I don't understand what's going on here.
You're a raging egomaniac, except for Miami football.
I didn't say he was a raging egomaniac.
You didn't?
855-212-4227. We're going to let Perloff sit with that one. Coming up, we have to give someone their flowers yesterday. We've got some surprise 3-0 teams. Can they win their NFL divisions? Get to that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
So peaceful and fair, Bolero's playing, the wind in the air. Derek's running on a beach so free. But where's Peter Bellotti? He's nowhere to be. Oh Pete, you're never at your desk, like a ghost in the office. What a lovely mess. Bolero's in the background, but we all agree. The real Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere to be. Oh Pete. They say the word bucolic means serene and pure, but waiting for Pete, man, that's hard to endure. Well, Derek shows up, but not our boy Pete. He's out there somewhere taking naps on repeat. Oh Pete, where could you be? Are you lost in the fields, so wild and free? Bolero's playing, but let's not pretend Bellotti's absence will never end. Both Derek and Bolero both show up on cue, but Peter Bellotti, well, that's nothing new. You can count on the sun, the wind and the breeze, but Pete at work, now that's just a tease. Follow Pete, oh Pete, will you ever show? Oh, you lost in the fields, so bucolic meadow. Bolero's fading, the day's almost through, but Bellotti, my friend, we're still waiting for you. Derek and Bolero both show up on cue, but Peter Bellotti, well, that's nothing new. You can count on the sun, the wind and the breeze, but Peter, what? Now that's just a tease. Final Pete, oh Pete, will you ever show? Are you stuck in some bucolic meadow? Bolero's fading, the day's almost through, but Bellotti, my friend, we're still waiting for you. Oh Pete, we're still waiting for you. Oh, Pete. So peaceful and fair, Bolero's playing, the wind in the air. Derek's running on a beach so free, but where's Peter Bellotti?
.30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
How about the Minnesota Vikings? Welcome back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, 3-0 Pearl, leading the NFC North, taking out the 49ers and the Houston Texans in back-to-back weeks, and it feels like Brian Flores' defense is what's leading the way.
Yeah. All logic says they should be able to keep this up. I think they're coming back down to earth.
What indicators do you have?
I have no indicators whatsoever.
I was going to say, where's your proof?
Sam Darnold.
Well, I'll give you that.
He's played incredibly well, but he still makes a few boneheaded plays. You're like, why'd you do that? And last year, by the way, there were a lot of games where Brian Flores just completely flustered the opposing quarterbacks. But then there were games where other teams seemed to figure him out. When I say come down to earth, I do think I actually would take them as a playoff team. I'm just not sure this is going to be like the 13-3 Case Keenum year. I think that they're going to be a little more humble than that.
Well, I don't know. 13-3 is going to be a lot. I think the division is still going to be heard from, even though the Packers have done very well without Jordan Love, and the defense was really good yesterday in Nashville. And right now, Detroit, I'm still waiting for that offense to break out again, and they really haven't. Yesterday
was a run.
They can, but yesterday I thought I would describe that as kind of like this real constipated kind of offense for the Detroit Lions yesterday.
I thought the Lions were impressive yesterday. They controlled that game the entire time. They ran for 200 yards. Like, they're really effective.
But they couldn't separate themselves really from the Cardinals. That game was 20-10, and then it was 20-30. It was a one-score game for.
I mean, the win probability, I think, was over. I watched a lot. I think it was over 85% the entire time.
Anyway, but they didn't put a lot of distance between themselves and the Arizona Cardinals. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold, 4 touchdown passes, no picks yesterday, did have to leave the game at one point, but came back in. So you're wondering, how hurt could he possibly be, but not very. And meanwhile,
apparently, but there is a report that he might be getting an MRI today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so it might have been adrenaline fuel, and he did get his leg crunched back in a weird way.
So here's the thing about the Sam Darnold, like pixie dust kind of running out on Sam Darnold. You still have Aaron Jones, who is awesome.
Yeah,
His ability to run the ball, along with Justin Jefferson, who can catch anything from anybody. Like, it doesn't matter. He's just that good. So I don't know. The Aaron Jones part of this makes me think that maybe with Darnold, when Darnold's sailing passes and can't complete, a 5-yard pass, then nothing's going to work. But he's not been that guy yet.
What's the most games you've ever gotten out of Aaron Jones in a season, though?
Well,
let's see. I will pull it up, vamp here for a second. So he played 11 last year, 17 in 2022, 15, 14. I just feel like if you're going to use Aaron Jones at a high level, then like every running back these days in the NFL, there's an injury risk. Also, the Vikings schedule gets really tough coming up here. If they are for real and they can be, they got the Jets on here, the Lions. There's a lot of big challenges coming up, including Green Bay. We'll see if Jordan Love plays.
But to be honest, I thought the last 2 games were big challenges. You're playing San Francisco and you're playing Houston, and they handled both of them.
They seem to have San Francisco's number. San Francisco's injured, and Houston had no interest in going on the road yesterday. They were clearly disinterested about 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's not a great sign. You said it doesn't matter. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it does matter. Now,
Why?
The AFC South we'll see what happens with the Jags tonight, but that has not been a great looking division.
An out-of-conference game on the road early in the season, if there's a game that doesn't matter, it was this game.
I know people are talking about C.J. Stroud to be an MVP candidate, not with 2 interceptions like that. 4 sacks.
I'm not panicking at all about the Texans. They just the game got off the rails really, really early, partly because of Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Vikings were great yesterday. I think they deserve the flowers. Phil's in Pennsylvania, wants to talk about the Eagles. Not happy with the coaching situation, Phil.
Yep, still not. Another week, another botched, decision-making. I mean, field goals. I guess he's allergic to them. I mean, before the end of the half, and then another 4th and 4 from the 35-yard line, kicking a field goal, and then when he decides to kick 60-yarders. Not everyone can hit those, and still, literally the score that just jumped in front of my car has better decision making than Sirianni.
Phil, I'm kind of with you. I can't tell, is he a go for it all the time guy or not? You know, it's like he at times is really it's too aggressive, not taking the field goals before the end of the halves. But then I feel like at the end of the game, he's not as aggressive. I can't figure it out.
It's Brandon Staley 2.0.
Oh.
He was basically getting killed for going for it so many times that he wimped out and it ended up costing him.
I know, but like that's the thing, Phil. Thank you for the call, dude. Good to hear from you. And sorry you're ticked off about Sirianni, but it's like you've got to either be Dan Campbell and you really got to live and die with it. If you're going to be that aggressive, because when you start flip-flopping, then your team doesn't know who you are. I think there's something to that.
I think the more universal criticism is that he has to take the points. I mean, so many people are saying that. It is hurting them. Dennis Allen had some really weird fourth down decisions as well. I think coaches are struggling with this because, first of all, have you noticed it seems harder to get a fourth down yard nowadays? Like nobody's sneaky. QB sneak. That's what I always say.
Your Eagles made the tush push famous, and you're trying to get too cute where you pull out from the tush push and then start going around to the other side. It was silly.
Well, they're in love with Saquon Barkley. They think they don't need the tush push because they have Saquon.
Thank God you have Saquon. What would you have done yesterday without him? Meanwhile,
yeah.
Eagles win feels like a loss, doesn't it? 855-212-4227. That's how callers are treating it. Nick Sirianni should still be fired. Team didn't look that great. Meanwhile, the 49ers actually were on their way to a win, and then it turned into a loss. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Final 5 seconds of regulation. Cardi from 37 to win it. The rookie with the right foot. Kick on the way, and it's a Cardi party at SoFi Stadium. 27-24. Their first lead of the game with 2 seconds left.
Rams radio. I mean, how? The 49ers, Perloff, had this game. You just heard it right there in the highlight. They were leading every moment up until 2 seconds left when the Rams kicked that very easy sort of chip shot field goal to take the lead. There were 2 seconds left. It didn't matter. It was over. And I think the 49ers, once you get over the shock of what happened, you just have to be in total disgust. How, again, blowing these late leads and getting out-coached?
I'm not sure exactly. Out-coached, it's an interesting way to put it. What part did Shanahan screw up? I mean, they can't rush the passer anymore. So that's one thing that's off. All their weapons are hurt, and their left tackle, who was the key to the team, apparently, is up and down.
Tell me what the Rams had. The Rams had their 2 best offensive weapons were definitely gone. They have all their injuries across the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, but those weapons, if you put Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua on other teams, like, they're great weapons, but Stafford is the engine.
Okay, well, the 49ers had Purdy. So they both had their quarterbacks.
Yeah, Purdy was great.
Yeah, Purdy was fine. But they both had their quarterbacks. I don't think that was, oh gosh, the Kyle Shanahan did nothing wrong here because the Rams had Matthew Stafford. Like, that doesn't.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm definitely, like, I walk away from that game. Yeah, there were mistakes, but and special teams was not great either. I just think it's not, to me, a Shanahan loss. I think they were too beat up, and I'm really worried about that defense.
But they weren't too beat up to take a lead. So that's my problem. And on the defense, the guys were there. I'm watching Nick Bosa. I'm watching Fred Warner. I'm seeing all the stars. They were there. And they were allowing touchdowns. Kyron Williams scored one somersault touchdown that was really impressive that we'll probably get on the highlight reels. But the last one was he walked in basically down the middle. And here's the thing, though, about like the Jake Moody missed a 55-yarder. I know we say 50-yarders are like automatic these days, but that was not a gimme at all. But yeah, you're right. The special teams is bad. And the fake punt executed by the Rams was great, kept a drive alive for them. And so, yeah, you can blame the 49ers special teams. But my question about Shanahan is, you're right. The defense is not ferocious again, yet you basically have the same personnel.
Well, sort of.
What's up with that? I'm sorry, Dre Greenlaw's not there. Okay. But
yeah, I mean, like, listen, you've been rotating that defensive line. Like, you didn't want to pay DeForest Buckner, and you didn't want to pay, I think Armstead left. Like, you basically have been kind of keeping together. And just like, to me, it's like Nick Bosa or nobody gets to the quarterback. I don't know what has changed there. It just feels like a completely different team. And normally the Niners would put that game away with their defense. And they can't. They just can't right now. So Purdy, I like what you said about Purdy. Purdy's fine.
Purdy was fine.
Purdy's fine. Now you need to salt away a win. You need Christian McCaffrey running the ball. I know Mason's good, and you need Debo. I think that's a big deal too. Debo getting the tough yards. Like there was just not enough first downs in the fourth quarter. It wasn't just like a last second. By the way, we're talking about individual mistakes. Ronnie Bell touch. It was a slow burn. Like you could feel the Niners losing hold of that game for most of the second half. You're like, wait a second, why aren't the Niners getting ahead more? What is wrong with this team? They're just not that Super Bowl team right now.
No, they're not. 855-212-4227. No, they're not the Super Bowl team right now. But I ask you, like, again, it's if you have something that seems like it's following you from one season to the next.
Blown leads.
Blown leads. Well, that's Shanahan's like MO. You know, he's kind of, I hate to say it, he's kind of known for that. But when you have something that's not fixed the next year, we can't come on here and just start skewering the Cowboys for not fixing their run defense and then come out and say, well, the 49ers get a pass when their defense has not been good over the last season and a half.
Well,
the half of last season to now.
I thought you were going to say about blowing leads.
And blowing leads is a problem.
I'm not sure that's necessarily fair because of the injuries.
But if the Rams were at full strength, I would say you're absolutely right. Let's blame the injuries. But you actually were facing a more injured team than you. They were a touchdown favorite in this game.
Yeah, I understand. I watched the game, but there's just some special sauce missing. Maybe it's Robert Saleh. I'm not sure. Or D'Amico Ryans. Maybe it's the coaching. I could point to that. They are just not the same team. And even last year, towards the end of last year, you're right. They kind of have to win. Now it's like a Brock Purdy show, which I don't think they want to do ideal. And Purdy I saw ended with a 137.1 rating. Like, he was pretty brilliant. Like, the guy moves around like crazy.
I
don't know if he can keep this up without getting hurt because he's not big.
And he doesn't slide. He always goes head first.
Yeah, I just think that the rest of the team, there's definitely like a special sauce missing. And I'm not putting on the coaching. I think those players you mentioned the names on the back of the jerseys. Those are stars. The guys who are actually healthy and on the field have to play like it.
Okay, but I did see Juwan Jennings have a very good first half. I'm watching him score 3 touchdowns.
Right. But he's not a star.
He's not, but they just paid him
$15 million for 2 years
to stick around.
They paid him tight end money.
But that's fine. They chose that they wanted him to stick around, and he was good. And then all of a sudden, the Rams either took him away in the second half or just was not nearly as effective. 855-212-4227. Meanwhile, you had, Ronnie Bell dropped a really big pass, and I know 49er fans are fed up because they don't think he's ever been productive. And then on the flip side, when you have guys who are out like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp for the Rams, here comes Tutu Atwell, who looks just as awesome.
Yeah. Remember, Tutu Atwell came out with a lot of hype, and then I thought he was a total bust until yesterday.
Yeah, during the Super Bowl team, he was good that year, right? He was on that team, no? And I got to double check that.
Special teams, maybe?
Bill is in California. Bill, who are you blaming the Niners' loss on yesterday?
Oh, let me tell you, I hate being a Monday morning coach, but I'm going to today. Perloff, I will agree with you. The Niners' defense isn't what it was, and so this loss goes on Kyle Shanahan 100% for putting so much on his defense. That last field goal should have never been tried. They should have punted it deep because it was late in the game. Your defense hasn't been that strong. The Niners were good enough to win yesterday, and Kyle Shanahan blew it. Should have never gave him only half a field. That's a high percentage field goal. We all know it. He knows.
Oh, Bill, we lost you. You must be going through a dead zone there. But fair. The one thing about Jake Moody, though, is he was not good last year. And in the Super Bowl, he was dead eye. Like, couldn't miss. And he was fantastic then. And now a 55-yarder that he missed. Barely, but he missed it.
Yeah, I agree with the caller there, though. There were opportunities to put it away. I'm not sure what to do with the Niners. Like, they're definitely not a bad team. If you put Kittle, Debo, Christian McCaffrey back on this team, I mean, do you want to see them in the playoffs? You could say Kyle Shanahan's a terrible coach, but the guy's won a lot of playoff games. So to count them out seems like a mistake as well.
The only thing about that, and you're right, but is that flawed logic that these guys make a lot of money when they're never healthy? McCaffrey had injury issues going back to Carolina. Kittle usually misses time. Debo misses games every year. So you're asking guys to this is who they are. This is what it is. This is the deal you make, right? You have these 3 really good weapons, but they are going to miss time.
Yeah, but you've still made 4 out of the last 5 conference title games.
I guess let's take away everything and just focus on this game. You had the game. We can talk about when you get to the NFC Championship game and all of that stuff. Let's focus on what happened yesterday. You were winning, and you should have won. Yeah. And I think that's the frustrating part of this for 49er fans. You had injuries. They had injuries. You made mistakes. They made mistakes. All of that. There was no excuse to me for the 49ers to lose that game, I think is where you and I disagree.
Well, it was a loss. It was a week 3 loss. I mean, nobody in San Francisco is happy about it. But I think the only issue is what does it mean bigger picture? Because, of course, you're saying that they're frustrated at blowing a 14-point lead in the second half?
No, I'm just saying I think I think you're saying, well, what does it actually matter? What does it mean?
Right,
and I'm saying I think it actually does matter, and I think it actually does mean something.
So you think it's moving forward, this is kind of the Niners we're going to get?
I don't know if it's what we're going to get. I don't have any faith in the defense.
Yeah, I think that they bring a lot of things together when they get healthy. Honestly, even this game, they were the better team for most of the game.
Yeah.
So it's not going to help anybody who's a Niners fan by saying there's a glimmer of hope, a silver lining here. But I'm going to go glass half full. Oh man, they have a good quarterback. If you imagine adding Debo, Kittle, and McCaffrey to an offense. Just imagine that, Niners fan.
I watched it. I saw them last year. They had this, and I get it. They came within an eyelash of the Super Bowl. But the thing is when these losses happen and you get another blown loss, I think it brings up a lot of old feelings because you don't have this Lombardi trophy there with Kyle Shanahan to rely on. Hey, we've seen him get out of this before. We've seen them be able to turn this around before. We've seen him get really far. You're right. Shanahan has won a lot of playoff games, but I think that we tend not to focus on those because of the high-profile losses. And anytime you have a lead and then lose it, it feels like Shanahan signing the bottom of the painting,
Yeah, I wouldn't view it. If I was a 49ers fan, I would try to keep my head up today. You're absolutely right. Everything you said is true, but you can at least, the reality is you have to hope some of these guys are coming back, or what are we even doing here? They have no chance if all 3 of those guys are done for the year. Then who cares anyway, because they're not going to win. But I think they will be back. I think they have some winnable games on the schedule coming up. And also, too, when they're fully healthy, every game's a winnable game. Remember, they came in the season, they were favored in every game?
Yeah, I think it's probably still that way. They play the Patriots next week. So
well, they have the Chiefs coming up. And if there's no McCaffrey, no Debo, then...
But it's in San Francisco?
Yeah. No McCaffrey, no Debo. You can't give them the edge on that one.
That'd be tough. 855-212-4227. That is the number to get involved with the show. You want to weigh in on the 49ers. Rough one yesterday. Adrian is in Maryland. Adrian, do you blame the coaching yesterday, or do you blame the fact that there were injuries yesterday?
You can't blame injuries. The Rams were worse off than the 49ers. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. They probably had a couple offensive linemen down as well, so that's not an excuse. The Niners just lost the game to a lesser team yesterday. And Maggie, I think I just fell in love with you because you said everybody wants to secure the Cowboys, but when the Niners lose, it's an excuse that they're missing this guy and they're missing that guy. What team healthy each week? So you got to overcome those odds.
Adrian, I'm there with you. This is why I can't give the 49ers a pass here. Yeah, there were a lot of big players out for them, but there were also a lot of big players out for the Rams. And, the Rams just found a way at the end of the game.
Right. I got one more thing to say in the Dallas. I got one more thing to say in the Dallas game.
Yeah.
I told my son, Dallas started going for 2 too early. If they do not go for 2, that last touchdown they got, the going for 2 would have tied the game.
Yeah.
So McCarthy went for 2 too early, and the second onside kick was not necessary. You're down 2 scores, 10-point game. You kick the ball long, kick it deep, and you got 7 minutes on the clock. what team goes onside with 7 minutes left on the clock? And you basically gave them a short field. They got off the field. Dallas defense got off the field, but you gave them a short field and you made your offense go on a long field.
But, Adrian, they just hit an onside kick.
What's that?
But they got the onside kick before.
Perloff, they got the first one. They tried it again.
Yeah.
The second time. That's the time they didn't get it.
Right, I know, but I mean, you can understand their logic. With 11 minutes left, they try it. I mean, I kind of felt like it was working.
When you play blackjack and you hit on 16 the first time, you don't hit on it the second time.
That's so good.
You're right, Adrian. It's so true, especially because it was, first of all, feels like it's a miracle for anyone to recover an onside kick in this day and age. Adrian, thank you for the call. Think about it. You've got to be trailing in the fourth quarter, obviously, but also you've got to announce it to everyone. You can't even do the surprise onside kick anymore. They've really taken the onside kick kind of just away out of the game. And then lo and behold, here come the Cowboys, actually do convert one as all part of this sort of furious comeback. But the second one was never going to hit. The odds would have been so improbable. That's like we talk about records that will never be broken in sports, like back-to-back no-hitters and stuff. Like, we're never going to see this again. Back-to-back onside kicks getting recovered, no shot.
I do understand, though, because Baltimore was running the ball so well, and you have, like, Lamar Jackson, the first down machine on the other side. Like, it was desperate times. It's not like they were down 10 against Baltimore. It wasn't, like, an easy win if they had kicked it off.
So the other part, too, about going for the two-point conversion, that's just one of those sort of analytics these days kinds of things. They say that if you're going to need a two-point conversion, better to do it on the first touchdown than on the potentially tying touchdown.
No. I don't think that was it was the Cowboys were on an odd score, weren't they?
Well, they needed, remember, they went for the 2-point after the first touchdown they scored in the fourth quarter, right? And they didn't get it. Am I right about that?
Right. But I think they were aiming for, I think they were on an odd score. They were down 28-12. So that's why you went for two. There's no reason to be down.
Right.
Yeah, 28-13. It wasn't that specific analytic situation. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it was just, it was bad. The 2-point conversion was nothing.
There's something about coaching and analytics that's bothering me right now, it is the aspect of teams don't seem to understand that, yes, the analytics may say do one thing, but you also have to understand your personnel and what your plays are. Like, I'm tired of teams who don't have good 4th-and-1 plays going for it on 4th down because the analytics say so, or teams that don't have good 2-point plays saying, well, the analytics, they go for 2, so just go for 2. Like, at a certain point, like, you also have to coach the team you have, not just what a computer says for any generic NFL team. And I feel like I see that all the time.
Just to be clear, it was 28-12.
Yes.
Ravens. They had no choice. You have to go for 2. So you're not going to make it 28-13. You're going to try and make it 28-14.
14, of course.
Yeah, unless you want to go for 2 later. But they were on an odd. They were at an island because they had hit 2 field goals, so they had to go for it. That wasn't an analytics decision.
Well, the other part, though, is that the Ravens' defense is, I mean, it felt like they were excelling. When the field is getting tighter and tighter, that is not when I want to start testing the Ravens' defense. And the Cowboys don't have a good run game. So it's hard. One thing,
I felt the same way that EJ did. So many teams were going 4th-and-1 and ran these terrible plays. Yeah. Obviously, most noteworthy Atlanta at the end of that game. But I felt like, God, teams didn't have a chance on 4th down.
Well, if they don't want to put their quarterbacks under center, I mean, it's one thing that bothers everybody is when you are 4th and inches and the quarterback's in shotgun. Like, what? We watched Tom Brady do this for a decade. He's 2 decades, pardon me. He's one of the least athletic quarterbacks out there, and he could convert a quarterback sneak 100 times out of 100.
Our buddy Nick Costos at BetQL had a good point, a big social media conversation about why Kirk Cousins didn't sneak. Someone said put Michael Penix in there. Actually, Costos said put Penix in because Kirk has but Penix has never been under center in his entire life.
Yeah.
Not a single play. He has no idea how to be under center. So these college guys are more comfortable in shotgun too, which adds to the problems.
I would just like direct snap. I don't know. Mike is in California, disappointed by his 49ers. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I mean, I have to agree with you that this is on Shanahan because if you look at the last drive, especially the last drive, I'd say the last 2 drives, they kept running out of bounds. I mean, they had the lead, and they kept running out of bounds instead of keeping the clock going. And it's like, look, you're missing half your offensive team, and you got the lead. Run the clock. And then to me, that's bad coaching. They kept running that outside sweep, and it's like, fine, at least drop down before you get out of bounds. I mean, that to me is coaching 100%. You saw it in the Super
Purdy
Bowl.
slid.
Period. End of story.
Mike,
So,
Purdy
absolutely
slid
fight
inbounds. I was like, everyone was like, oh my God, Brock Purdy, brilliant time management, slid inbounds.
Yeah, everybody on that team should know that. So anyway, I agree with you, coaching 100% on this.
Yeah, I think people are ticked off at Shanahan. I do. Thank you, Mike, for the call. And maybe it's nitpicking, but this is where you are as a team, right? You expect to have a lead, and you expect to be able to salt that away, even without Christian McCaffrey.
When are these guys coming back, Mac? What's the latest from the Niners training room?
I mean, McCaffrey's going to be a bit. Because you notice also with McCaffrey, it started as a calf, and now they're putting Achilles tendonitis in there, too. That one sort of got snuck in.
And you rightfully you said, well, why'd they pay this guy when Jordan Mason can run for all these yards? Why'd they pay the guy when he had a massive injury?
Well, I never understood the rush to get an extension done with him. He's already the highest paid running back. And now that you just added 2 more years and another $4 million on top when you're already got tons of people to pay. He had more years left on the contract.
I told you guys my conspiracy why that deal got done.
No, what? Why?
He had to pay for that wedding. That wedding with Miss Colpo, now Mrs. McCaffrey, looked expensive. And he just got a raise. I don't think he even gave him more years. I was like, oh.
You think he can't afford a wedding already?
I think he wanted it to be more comfortable spending than it was. And
listen, weddings get
expensive.
He
held out?
EJ, just wait.
Yeah. 49ers said they had no idea why he was holding out. They were like, this is shocking to us. We don't know why this is happening. I was like, oh, that is weird. And then he gets the contract, and then a month later, I see this lavish wedding that People Magazine was at, and all these famous, outlets were at. I was like, oh, he needed that bread.
Well, that's what they're recouping some of the money by having People be there with all access and pays them, and people will pay them for the photos.
When people like that, like Christian McCaffrey and Olivia Couple, they don't pay for anything. Like the people who are they are given all that wedding stuff. Like wedding designers are like, you don't have to pay. I thought that's how it worked.
I think some of the stuff, like her dress, probably is either free or super discounted if she's going to put it on our social media. But I don't know. Like, I didn't. Maybe. You think the caterers are going to do it for free? I
think they get a lot of discounts. Also, he's in a Home Depot commercial where he just stands there, which is bizarre. He's getting he's got to have enough money for a wedding.
I'm not saying he doesn't have enough. I'm saying it's always a little more comfortable if you got a little bit of a cushion.
How much do you think she makes? She probably makes.
I think they both
$8 million a year.
Yeah, they make a decent amount, but every little bit counts, Perloff. Just like
taxes in California.
Every little bit.
I mean,
counts.
honestly, it's the best theory that anyone's come up with.
They're living in a 2-bedroom somewhere. I doubt it.
It's not Brock Purdy who's living with a roommate and his girlfriend.
No, he got married too. Purdy got married.
I mean, my wedding issue is different. It's Carson Steele and his sister are getting married on a game day when your brother is playing for the Kansas City Chiefs because they had the venue.
It's Sunday. You don't think a year ago that he's going to be in the NFL.
I understand. Well, you might. I mean, he had to be pretty good at college.
No, he was fine that last year at UCLA. But, are you really thinking my brother's going to get drafted in a late round? Isaiah Pacheco's going to go down, and all of a sudden now he's going to have 25 carries on Sunday Night Football.
Well, even when Pacheco was out there, he still got 5 or 6 carries. I think that, yes, you delay the wedding. He was supposed to be in the wedding party. Yes.
Delay the wedding? Do you know how hard these venues are to book, Perloff?
Do you know how hard it is to have a sibling who is running roughshod in the NFL? On a Sunday, is it that hard to book a Sunday?
In the fall, too.
Sunday in the fall. Not popular, you're saying?
I just don't agree with it. You know your brother's a professional football player.
You don't at the time, though. A year ago, he was not.
Still, Saturdays might be busy for him, too, if he's in college. It's not right. Do a spring wedding on Sunday.
I was going to say they should get married on a Wednesday?
Friday night.
Well, is Sunday that hard to get a venue? I mean, that's a sort of a little bit of a cheaper day, right?
I think nowadays Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are totally booked. I don't know. 855-212-4227. San Francisco, who are you putting the loss on? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Is it the players? We're seeing Ronnie Bell not making a play. You give a little credit to the Rams.
Ronnie Bell. We're always saying Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell sounds like a character in Saved by the Bell or some sort of tweener show.
A little too on the nose if Ronnie Bell was on Saved by the Bell.
I think.
Something my 5-year-old to come
Give me
He wasn't on that show? I thought there was a character named Ronnie Bell.
I should have gone. What's that other show that you like with Savage, Kevin Savage?
Boy Meets World?
Boy Meets World. Yeah, Boy Meets World. Darn it, I screwed up.
It's all right.
Ronnie Bell's a fake name.
He's hiding from something. 49er fans today. 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, we're giving out some grades. Our college report card comes your way next. All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect, Perloff.
That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Here's the cool part.
His Niners can't defend, and letting every team score never seems to end. From the Bay to the city, San Francisco's looking rough, but the real question is, what's Peter Bellotti? It's tough. All the Greg's teams are all out of luck, but Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere. What the heck? Forget the defeat, fans, forget the end zone, cause finding Bellotti's like finding the unknown. The Warriors ain't winning, the Giants fall apart. The Niners can't tackle, it's breaking Greg's heart. But while they miss tackles and while they drop throws, where in the world Peter Bellotti goes, nobody knows. Oh, the Greg's teams are all out of luck, but Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere. What the heck? Forget the defense, forget the O-line. Peter Bellotti's been missing for all the time. Is he hiding in the locker room taking a nap? Is he off with Aaron Rodgers talking pyramid maps? Uncle Greg says his teams are the ones to blame, but Peter Bellotti's the real mystery game. Oh, Uncle Greg's teams are all out of luck, but Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere. What the heck? Forget the playbook, forget the end zone, cause finding Bellotti's like finding the unknown. And Greg's feeling bad. The bigger mystery's the one that's making us sad. Peter Bellotti, if you're out there somewhere, come back, buddy, we need you on air. The Warriors ain't winning, the Giants fall apart. The Niners can't tackle, it's breaking Greg's heart. The Niners can't tackle, it's breaking Greg's heart. The while they miss tackles and while they drop throws, where in the world Peter Bellotti goes? No, Greg's got a problem, his Niners can't defend. The letting every team score never seems to end. From the Bay to the city, the Peter Bellotti's been missing for all the time. Well, Peter Bellotti's been missing for all the time.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. I'm now obsessed with the net worth of Christian McCaffrey and Olivia Culpo. EJ,
Hi.
with the best theory on why McCaffrey had to sort of push for a new contract this offseason, had an expensive wedding to pay for. McCaffrey has made in his career $81 million. Olivia Culpo, the model, has her own beauty line, own makeup line, own clothes line. Ed has acted as worth at least $10 million. You're telling me he needed a $4 million bump just to pay for a wedding? Could be. That's the best theory we have so far.
I mean, it's been a while. I just had my 10-year wedding anniversary, Pearl. You've been married, what, 15 years?
15, yeah.
I mean, it's been
coming up Friday.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, it's been a while, but we all remember what it's like to plan a wedding. I mean, everything gets jacked up at least 20% when you put wedding on it.
But isn't it the wife's family's duty to pay for it?
That,
Traditionally?
I don't know if that's still the case.
I just think that a lot of people who provide services for weddings would do it at a discount for McCaffrey and Culpo if they were really that. Because then you could say, oh, I catered Christian McCaffrey's wedding. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but you also might want the money from catering Christian McCaffrey's wedding. Like you might,
Yeah.
you know. But again, in this day and age, the way that, how expensive food is, you can't get through the cocktail hour for $80 million.
Where was this wedding? It was somewhere
Rhode Island.
Yeah, it was on the East Coast. Rhode Island? You think it's expensive to get married in Rhode Island?
Yeah, it's on the coast. It's beautiful.
It
And
was
it's
right next to the
in
Taylor
summer?
Swift summer mansion.
Yeah,
Nah.
that part of Rhode Island is crazy.
What's it called? What's that area called with the mansions?
Watch Hill.
Watch Hill.
I don't know. It was in California. I think that they could afford this. I don't think that they had to
Again,
stretch
it's
their
not
budget.
that they can't afford it. It's that
They're
it
like-
would help. And Chris McCaffrey's like, hey, it's
Do you think the
time.
conversation was like this? They're sitting around like, oh, what should we get for hors d'oeuvres? Should we get the tuna carpaccio or pigs in a blanket? Well, if you want the tuna, I'm going to have to call John Lynch and get some more money.
If you want the shrimp, if you want the big shrimp, you're going to have to fork over some more money.
It's not odd, though. I mean, nobody knew he was concerned about his contract or the money. He's the highest paid running back in the NFL, so he's already set the market. And he comes out and he's like, I need more money. I need it now. I'm not showing up to training camp until I have it. When the Niners had like 3 other guys he had to pay.
Well, the other part is the Niners will drag this out with literally everyone.
Right.
They will drag it out to the last possible second with Bosa and with Ayuk and with Debo and all these guys. And it's like, oh, McCaffrey needs money? Here you go. Here's a wrench truck for you. You got a calf strain? It's probably nothing.
Okay, I'm reading about this wedding in Vogue magazine. They didn't pay for anything. Ocean House, it's clearly an advertisement for wherever this wedding was. This is all marketing. They could write off the entire thing. This is one giant marketing campaign. These pictures are too perfect, DJ. They didn't pay for a dime of this.
Wait, but what's the? I'm relatively new to this still, so I get why he would want the money. Why did the Niners give it to him?
Because they felt like they needed him, and they were foolish, clearly, because they got this other guy, Jordan Mason, who's pretty decent.
How much money did they give him, by the way? What was the extra? I know
It was $4 million, right?
An
Maggie?
extra $4 million. on
Yeah, I
top.
mean, that's the other thing, too. And like we said, Kittle, you mentioned Kittle is highly paid. None of them get that much money. Ayuk was basically breaking the bank.
No, $4 million on top of the $19 million.
Righty.
Yeah.
I think he totaled,
Or
so
maybe
he
$19
totals $19
He's making
million.
a lot more than most other running backs.
Yeah, but he's still not making Ayuk money. I mean, I think that was the one they wanted to move on from Ayuk, and they probably should have. Because Juwan Jennings is Randy Moss 2.0.
Here's William in the East Bay. Wants to talk about the 49ers loss. What's up, William?
Well, good morning once again. I got to concur with Andrew on this one, okay? And you start from that offensive line, which is very poor. She got a guy that just got the big bag, getting penalties, not doing it. The defensive line, I agree, Andrew. They're just not getting to that quarterback. And there's something with the Bosa thing, I'm not sure. But, I think it starts there. In regards to Derek Carr, I'm a lifelong Raider fan, season ticket holder, and I go way, way back to the old AFL. And the only thing I got to say about Derek Carr, okay, and it's a Dennis Green quote, he is who we thought he is, okay? Or it's kind of like the pumpkin burst, okay? across the landscape real quick, watching that game with Kansas City last night, it was a very pedestrian game for them. Kelsey was pretty much non-existent the first half. Speed Racer, had a hell of a game and, caught some great passes. But you never get the feeling that team is going to lose, even up to the end. It's kind of like you just
Yeah, but you know what, William? I'm with you. But if there was going to be a loss for the Chiefs, I feel like last night when, Kyle Pitts gets mugged in the end zone, that should have been Atlanta 1st and goal. Now, at the 1. Now, you want to tell me that you think 100% Patrick Mahomes would have taken the ball the other way and scored? Yeah, we've got a lot of evidence that would tell you that he can do something like that. But again, Rashee Rice was hurt at that point. So now you're going to have to keep going to Juju. Kelsey had been a non-factor. William, thank you for the call. I'm not 100% sure that the Chiefs would no doubt score there because I didn't realize this, but apparently Justin Simmons is the one guy on planet Earth who is the kryptonite for Patrick Mahomes. He's thrown him 6 picks. Now, he played for the Broncos, so obviously they had a lot more matchups when he was in the division. But these 2 safeties are Mahomes killers. Didn't know it.
I feel like Mahomes is throwing it to the defense consistently on a very consistent basis these days.
He throws picks.
There was a drop. Yeah, but has he ever thrown picks like this? I felt like they dropped one early that Mahomes made a terrible throw right into the defender's hands. Who was he calling Speed Racer? Xavier Worthy?
No, Rashee Rice.
Oh, Rashee Rice. Oh, okay.
For the speeding violations that.
Duh. I thought it was Xavier Worthy set the 40 record. They're calling Xavier Worthy Speed Racer. Oh. By the way, EJ and I were talking about before, is there any more surreal thing than watching Rashee Rice?
Wait. When I said Rashee Rice, you still didn't get it at that point? I had to say because of the car things?
No, you said Rashee Rice was out. Right.
No, before, but he said Speed Racer. Who's he talking about? Xavier Worthy? I go, no, Rashee Rice. And I said, because he's got those speeding ticket, the traffic violations. And then you went, oh.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if when I first said Rashee Rice, you didn't get it.
What do you mean?
That it wasn't about him being fast. It's about him, the car accident.
Yeah, that's why I said, oh.
Okay.
But anyway, Rashee Rice, by the way, where's that suspension, Maggie?
Good question.
Maybe the second half of the Super Bowl, they'll pull him out?
Yeah, likely story. Bogish has headlines for us. Hey, Bogues.
I need a microphone for that, don't I? Maggie, you can't believe it, how it happened. Neither can Sean McVay. This is how the Rams head coach began his post-game press conference after his team scored 13 points in the final 6+ minutes to steal a 27-24 win from the Niners.
Holy yeah, I tell you, that was, yeah.
I mean, the dude walked in, got to the mic, and just said that. No comeback would have meant an 0-3 start for the Rams, and that was not an option, says Kyron Williams.
An 0-3 start is not good, and we know that. And so I feel like that's just something that we prepared this week to make sure that it didn't happen.
Williams ran for 89 yards and 2 scores, despite his team missing Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and multiple O-linemen. The Rams actually were down 14 in the third yesterday, so this is the Niners' largest blown lead since 2018. The Chiefs hung on to a 22-17 edge to win in Atlanta on Sunday Night Football. Kirk Cousins' offense had 2 late chances to take the lead, but failed twice on 4th down.
I'm really proud of the way our defense held up in the second half and kept getting us the ball back, giving us opportunities. And, there's just plenty I can point to that wasn't good enough to win this game tonight.
So his Falcons are 1-2. The Chiefs are 3-0, just like Cousins' old friends in Minnesota. The Vikings took apart the Texans yesterday afternoon, 34-7. Sam Darnold joining Matthew Stafford as the only QBs in the Super Bowl era to win their first 3 starts with a new team while throwing 2 or more touchdowns in each of those games. Darnold tying a career high with 4 yesterday. Caleb Williams threw his first career TD in the Bears' 21-16 loss in Indy. Jonathan Taylor ran in 2 for the Colts. The second one came in the fourth quarter after Caleb was strip sacked.
Do you notice people getting a little nervous about Caleb Williams? I mean, it's way too early, But we had talked a lot about Perloff. He's walking into this great situation.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's got all these weapons, but the offensive line has been bad.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen, as you might expect, has not been dependable. They did come back a little bit. Does that comeback save some of the day for him? He showed in the fourth quarter that he obviously has skills.
I don't know if the Colts are good.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
I thought they were, but Anthony Richardson was the worst quarterback in that game yesterday.
That pick he threw was worse than Will Levis's somehow.
He does not. There's still not enough reps there.
Yeah, he hasn't played enough games.
Right, like that's I think that's the thing to me. Is like the argument against him was he played like 4 minutes of real football for the NFL, and now that you're seeing that because he's just technically every other Colt tweet is somebody picking apart his technique, his footwork, and that's why he can't make a throw.
Absolutely. But back to Maggie's question though, is Caleb Williams? I do sense that panic about Caleb Williams, and listen. I said this rookie class was going to be better than 83, so I'm holding on for dear life here.
I mean, we're not even into October yet. Where is anybody going? They're rookies. They're babies.
Yeah, exactly. And Bo Nix apparently is the second fastest player in the NFL.
I had top speed at like 21 miles an hour or something. Everyone's faster than Tyreek Hill these days.
Yeah, I saw enough in the second half to give me some hope for the Bears.
So I don't know if you guys watch. I did not watch this. I saw it aggregated on social media where Alex Smith, who was on our show not too long ago, was like very impassioned. They were talking about Bryce Young, but it was like a very impassioned kind of plea about how not everybody can be Peyton Manning, where you throw them out there. They have these bad rookie seasons, but they learn from it. It doesn't rattle their confidence. It doesn't rattle their mechanics. And then they go on to have these Hall of Fame careers. He said that's the anomaly. That's not real for most guys. So none of these guys should be starting, is kind of Alex Smith's point. Even
starting
Caleb
right
Williams.
away. You know, by the way, Jimmy Johnson shredded the Panthers for benching Bryce Young. They're like, what are you doing? You're giving up on him. And I mean, this is
Troy
long.
Aikman's rookie year was terrible too.
I'm just saying it was long overdue to bench Bryce Young. He should have been benched halfway through last year. I don't think there's anything there with Bryce Young. I think you were right when you said pre-draft that he's too small. Now, Caleb, I would not say that. What is it, 3 games? There's no reason to write off Caleb Williams at all to me, although people are doing it.
But there was like this idea that he's like generational. We see like, C.J. Stroud was able to do it and Peyton Manning was able to do it and Troy Aikman can do it. But that Alex Smith's point is like nobody should be doing this. No rookie should be starting. Because he's like, look at how many head coaches he's had. Look at how many offensive coordinators already Bryce Young has had in his young career. And I think Alex Smith is obviously speaking from a place of knowledge. He had 5 different head coaches his first 6 years or so.
But then how do you explain C.J. Stroud?
Again, is he just an exception?
Right.
Yeah.
And C.J. Stroud might have had some of the stuff that we thought Caleb Williams had. It was a good team. He had developing young receivers, a sturdy offensive line, and what seems to be, before yesterday, an exponentially better head coach.
Yeah.
Because the Bears, their staff messed up in like 4 different ways going down the stretch of that game, calling timeouts, not calling timeouts. I still don't know why Matty Eberflus called a second timeout in the second half with multiple minutes left, with a stopped clock, and his team playing defense, and he was charging down the sideline. A play was over. It wasn't like they weren't lined up correctly.
Right.
The play ended. In fact, I think it was a reviewable play that they should have wanted to not go to review, and he comes running down the sideline and calls a timeout. And then they messed up whether they're going for 2 or 1 after a touchdown, burned another timeout, so they didn't have enough timeouts afterwards. And should they have kicked an onside kick at 2:01 left? They were terrible as a staff down the stretch of that game.
You know what's emerging a lot is, remember Jackson Smith and Jigba's quotes about Shane Waldron?
Yep.
Those are coming up a lot.
What did he say?
EJ, what was the guy doing? He was calling a hot mic, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was a hot mic. I think it was a question in a radio station. And they asked him, your former offensive coordinator is going over to the Bears. How do you feel about that? He's like, oh, good luck to them.
Oh, right.
And
that was preseason.
It's not been very good luck for Caleb Williams since Shane Waldron's been calling plays there.
Wait, Bogus, you sound like you had some money there.
No, that game.
Yeah.
He's like, and then on third down.
I watched it too.
Well, it was hard. The 1 o'clock window had some weird games.
Yeah, it was.
So I had 3 screens going yesterday. So one of them got Colts Bears because that was one of 2 close-ish games in the early window. So I was paying almost direct attention to it, and they looked like doofuses.
Okay, so this is where, again, the anatomy of ruining a quarterback, this is how it starts. I'm not saying this is going to happen with Caleb Williams, but this is how it starts. You didn't do enough when you fired the offensive coordinator. Instead of also firing the head coach, you decided to do this haphazard thing where now I bet Eberflus, if they don't whatever expectations were in the building, they don't meet them, Eberflus is gone, which means Waldron is gone. So now you're going to do year 2, Caleb, with a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator or whatever combo, and now the guy's had 2 different entirely new playbooks he's had to learn in 2 years.
Well,
this is never how a good start for a rookie.
Well, Trevor Lawrence had the same situation, played well enough to get paid.
I mean, I wouldn't wish Trevor Lawrence's rookie year on my worst enemy. That was
right, but then he came back in the
Meyer.
second year and beat Justin Herbert in the playoffs.
Yeah, he got
How's it
paid,
going now?
But let's see tonight.
I give the Bears. The Bears should get a little bit of a break in the sense that they tried to put around Caleb a good team.
Yeah.
Like you got Swift, you got Allen. I know he's hurt. You got DJ Moore. Obviously, you paid him. You drafted a top 10 wide receiver. Like I know he's a rookie.
Odunze was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you at a certain point, I don't want to kill the rookie, but like he has pieces. Like what's the disconnect? Maybe it is the coaching.
Offensive
You could be
line
right about that.
is not as good as they thought.
Offensive line's bad, and I do agree with that. But it just feels like watching them play that it still feels too much like backyard football watching Caleb play.
Yeah.
Totally. He thinks he can make the plays he made in college. Also, he needs Keenan. He needs a safety blanket, big time. He needs to make a 5-yard throw. Like there's nothing easy in that offense.
They're also not running the ball well either.
Also, did you see DJ Moore catch that Hail Mary at the 1-yard line?
Yes.
If you had bet on the Bears, that was maybe the most frustrating play of all time.
There were like 8 ridiculous catches yesterday. The neighbor's catch, Jawan Jennings, the one that didn't count in the Rams-Niners game on when Tutu Atwell threw it. And the other guy caught it and he
DeMarcus
shot.
Robinson. Yeah, that was crazy.
Just somebody else had another like Randy Moss-like catch, just taking it away from a defender. Yesterday was like wide receivers showing off.
I'm still
day.
dreaming about that neighbor's catch in the end zone.
But I think the Olave catch was
Olave getting his feet down. You're right. There were bananas catches because quarterbacks aren't good anymore. So now the wide receivers have to bail them out.
Bogusch, thank you so much. See you guys on the phones. What happened to the Raiders yesterday? Get to that. We have a lot more to dive into. We will get to our college football report card as well. Speaking of amazing plays, ShedeurSanders with a Hail Mary at the end of the game, which sent it to overtime. Then Travis Hunter causing a fumble with his shoulder, just barreling into a dude. That was a good ending for Colorado. We got so much to do. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Known better.
What's that?
Well, I bet Davante Adams over 65.5 yards receiving. I should have known better that the Raiders were due for a letdown after they had the big win against the Ravens in Baltimore. And then, of course, the Panthers made a quarterback switch before the game from Bryce Young to Andy Dalton. The problem is nobody apparently told the Raiders it's going to be a different guy this time. And he actually can throw the ball, and he's not a disaster. And then we all found out the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, why hasn't Andy been starting all along? That's a different issue. The Raiders, I was early into that game, I'm like, oh, the Raiders aren't good. Last week was an anomaly. They're not good.
Well, here's Antonio Pierce after the game agreeing with a reporter that the team just did not show up.
No, they didn't. I think as the game went on, I don't think it was a team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions, and will make business decisions going forward as well.
Wow. I mean, is that not on the coach? A little bit. I know you're calling out the players, but doesn't that mean you point the finger and the thumb's coming back at you or whatever that line is? You didn't have them ready to play? Could you also say that?
So this is, everyone thinks this is Davante Adams they're talking about, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably a lot of guys.
I think it's that off-season show where Davante Adams was complaining about the team, and then he didn't put out I didn't watch most of it.
He got hit a few times yesterday.
But did he put out a strong effort yesterday? I know you had.
Yeah, they just didn't go to him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the Gardner Minshew AOC thing. Aiden O'Connell. I don't understand, like, what do you expect from this team? They really didn't invest in quarterback. So how can you expect consistent production from Davante Adams? I know he's been a good soldier up until this point of the season. I don't know. If it is Davante Adams, does that mean the trade is coming? Like, is he going to be reunited with Aaron Rodgers?
I think that's what everyone's waiting for. Now, did I see Davante Adams, like, making business decisions? I felt like they weren't even looking his way at some point.
Then who would have been the business guys afraid to tackle?
I mean, we got to watch the all 22, I imagine. Like, it
yeah.
becomes a little, once you start grinding the film.
As much as I love the Red Rifle, to get me to watch the all 22 of a Panthers blowout of the Raiders would take a lot.
I'll report back. Big Friendly is our pal in California. Big Friendly, how you been?
Good morning, Maggie Malone. EJ, the EP, I hope the leg is doing better. 411 and the one and only Daddy Cool. Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Let's dive into this and try not to hit our head on the dismount.
Okay. Got about 30 seconds here, Friendly. What do you think about your 49ers?
I'm a Niner fan. I'm glad they lost. Real quick, Bryce Young can do good in the right system. Look at Kyle Murray. The Niners are sucked. They garbage. Up by 14. Lost again. Kyle Shanahan. I can't keep a lead hand. You guys have a great day. Love you. I got to go.
That's it, Friendly. Sorry, you're a Rams fan, not 49er fan. I didn't mean to insult him.
That's an interesting comparison. Is Kyler Murray good? I actually want to throw that out to the universe because, yeah, he looks good on certain plays, but then I noticed the Cardinals are always at like 13 points.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is really good at the end of the game, it seems. Like, if you're trailing by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, I can basically book a Kyler Murray touchdown. Now, I don't know if you're going to get 2, but I can book 1 to make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. They scored 13 points yesterday, and a lot of them were early. So I'm not sure that he's really getting the job done there. Because I was wondering, is that a team that would be bad and look at quarterback?
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, but you see moments like so he was 21 for 34, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. It's just hard to be. I worry about his height. Like, he has to drop way back, and he makes these brilliant plays. But do they just look brilliant because he's so small?
Well, has he been taking off as much? I don't know what his rushing yard total was, but I mean, this is a guy who.
Yeah, he's been running about 55 yards a game.
All right, well, that's not bad. Because he's smaller, but he's kind of like built really solidly, you know? Not like your run-of-the-mill short quarterback. 855-212-4227. Figure that out for you. Coming up, we do the NFL in 60. Every game recapped in 60 seconds. We do it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Looking for a couple surprise 3-0 teams? Hello, Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I might put the Vikings there. I might put the Seahawks there. But let's pause on the Steelers for a second, Perloff, because this was the best game that Justin Fields has had. They beat the Chargers. Now, the Chargers lost Justin Herbert in this game. He's got an ankle injury. He had the plantar fascia in the offseason or in the preseason. So that's obviously not trending well. But if we keep this on the Steelers, the defense is amazing, but we knew that. This was a good game from Fields. Yeah. Even though he threw his first interception in this game, avoiding the sacks, it's just been 6 on the season, which is not terrible considering how much he held onto the ball when he was in Chicago. And I think more importantly, you're not benching the guy after he goes 3-0. Even if you want to say the defense is responsible, Pearl, Justin Fields is going to be starting as long as they're winning.
Well, yeah, also, I haven't seen Russell Wilson. Is he where is he? Is he close to being ready to go
He's
anyway?
Like the emergency third quarterback, I think, yesterday.
Well, the Steelers had an offensive explosion, got up to 20.
Look out, Lee.
I'll tell you one thing, and I've said this take, and I keep hammering. I think that there's a great chance T.J. Watt wins the first MVP for a defensive player since LT in '86, because every quarterback in the league has forgotten how to play. So there is a clear path. And he, even last night, I think it was Heineke, or yesterday, it was Heineke who was sacked. But he got lined up with Joe Alt, the number 5 overall pick. He was around him so fast, I felt bad for the rookie. I really felt bad. He is sort of the face of this defense, which is one of the stories of the year. Fields was good, but as you said, this defense is kind of all-time right now.
No, they're amazing. And again, like we can unpack this from the Chargers' point of view, which is, should Justin Herbert have been out there at all?
No, and no. And now I worry. Our good friend, Dr. Rock Positano, sent me a text, said, worry about the plantar fasciitis affecting the rest of the leg. Because I think that's one of the first things we knew about Herbert was a lower foot injury. And now it just seems like everything is hurting for him.
Yeah, it's just weird because if you're the Chargers, you're 2-0. And now you're going to face the Steelers, and it's like the defense is good, but the offense isn't good. And so you probably think, all right, maybe we can J.K. Dobbins run our way into a win. I don't know.
Well, they were. I mean, listen, if Herbert's still out there, that game was
They
very,
were leading
very
at
close.
half.
Yeah, that game was
10-7.
very close. They could have been fine, but you could tell something was wrong with Herbert.
Yeah, and this is now really changed a lot of things. Well, and we'll get more information on Herbert today, but here's the part about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Justin Fields is now 3-0 as a starter. Again, it's looked a little bit better every week. Yesterday was the best it looked, but maybe it's because, Chargers had Joey Bosa lost for the game, got hurt in this one, and also you're with a backup quarterback, so it's just different. But I ask you this question. If you are Miami and you watch Skylar Thompson go out, your backup yesterday, and get hurt in Seattle. So now you're to God knows what until you, I guess, waiting for Tua to come off IR with his concussion issues. Is a potential call that Miami could make to Pittsburgh for Russell Wilson, is that a different conversation today than it was Friday? And by that, I mean, I don't know how the Steelers, how do you go away from Fields now when he's having success for you?
No, I don't think it is a different conversation. I think the Steelers immediately hang up the phone because Justin Fields is great, but Justin Fields has gotten hurt a lot in his career. They definitely want a high-end backup there because now they're thinking not just playoffs, but deep playoff run. Like, they think this could be a team. So they're not getting rid of Wilson. I understand. Miami, yeah, definitely. Anybody. Although I wish Wilson was a little healthier. We could see him throwing the ball. That would help because they need someone immediately. I agree on the Miami side, yes. On the Pittsburgh side, no, because they need a backup.
Yeah, I wonder, do you throw something in for this year, throw in a running back or something like that, something that Pittsburgh might actually want? I don't know, but I do know this, is that Fields, this is the job now. And I don't think that even if Russ passes every medical test and if they're like, no, he's good to play, he's cleared this week, then he's cleared to be a backup. Because I don't think you're going to bench Fields. He hasn't been so bad. You're playing at Indianapolis this week, and I think Indianapolis might be really bad.
Well, nobody's going to score anything in this game.
Another under, potentially. So I don't know how this shakes out because we talked about this earlier in the year. Is Russell Wilson going to accept being a backup?
Yes, definitely.
Well, he has to.
I mean, he's not in uniform, so there's no accepting or anything. Like you can't start from your living room, so. Unless he wasn't in uniform, right, this week? Like he's
I thought
still
he was
out.
the emergency third quarterback.
Was he emergency even?
I believe I heard that. Anyway, 855-212-4227. If you want to weigh in on the surprising 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers, let's get to the NFL in 60.
Maggie and Perloff take you around the league, recapping this weekend's football action. Time for NFL in 60.
All right, Pearl, let's start with the Giants and the Browns. First win of the season for New York, and Malik Neighbors looks like the guy.
Yeah, I have a defensive strategy for the Giants. Put 7 guys on Malik Neighbors and let Daniel Jones try and throw it somewhere else because nobody could catch a Daniel Jones pass except for this guy. He was actually, we watched offseason Hard Knocks. It was the right choice. Number 6, Malik Neighbors, superstar.
Yeah, he looks great. On the flip side for Cleveland, even as bad as Deshaun has been, I think the Myles Garrett news is way more listen, Deshaun is troubling. The Myles Garrett news is also troubling because you saw what a good defense could do for you last year. He's got both feet hurt, both of them, Pearl.
Yeah, that's not good. Flat feet, apparently.
Is that
I read that somewhere.
Damn. Okay.
Get inserts.
We move on. Packers under Malik Willis and a great defense yesterday takes down the Titans 30-14.
Isn't it funny, Mr. System QB guy? I was right all along. You put Malik Willis in Green Bay, all of a sudden he's good.
Yep.
And he was terrible in Tennessee. That actually is probably the best defense for Will Levis. Look how much better this guy is when he got out of the building. Malik Willis actually looked great throwing the ball and running the ball, saving himself. I don't know if it works next week against Minnesota. Maybe you bring back Jordan Love, but this is a revelation.
The Green Bay defense has been phenomenal. Obviously, Jair Alexander has a pick 6 yesterday. They have 7 interceptions as a defense this season. That is awesome. Meanwhile, Will Levis, good thing you got the mayonnaise money while you could. 2 interceptions and a fumble. He's now had 8 turnovers in 3 games. And 2 of them have been pick 6s. This dude's got to get benched. Okay, coming up next, 21-16 Perloff. The Colts hang on for a win over the Bears.
Yeah.
This is a tough one to watch from Caleb Williams. He clearly has the talent, but this has not gone the way that I think people hoped the beginning of the season was going to look for him.
Yeah, actually, if they could get fourth quarter Caleb Williams, I thought he made some plays. So he's going to get more comfortable. He has the talent.
Guess how many pass attempts he had yesterday?
I was just looking.
52.
Yeah. How many complete?
33.
All right.
Yeah. You don't want your rookie quarterback throwing the ball 52 times in a game that's 21-16.
You know what the problem for them was? Jonathan Taylor. We forgot how good that guy is, the Colts running back. If I'm the Colts, by the way, I am never throwing a pass. Ever. Under any circumstance.
Probably smart with
Just
Anthony
run
Richardson.
Taylor, run Richardson.
2 interceptions, no touchdowns for Richardson. Jonathan Taylor, 23 carries, 110 yards. Okay, let's move on. Next game for you is... What happened here?
Vikings, Texans.
Thank you. All of a sudden, my screen went blank.
It's all good.
Oh, you're like a Texans lineman who could not hear
False
the
start.
snap count. That was, I'm going to give a full pass to the Texans. I know you disagreed with me on this one. How many? It was 8 flags on the offense, mostly for false starts and illegal formations, which is the new thing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Laramie Tunsil couldn't hear the snap count. There's no other way around it. Like, they kept screwing this up.
Yeah, then give the win, I guess, to the Vikings fans.
Yeah,
they couldn't hear.
Skol.
C.J. Stroud just not good in this game. 2 interceptions, took 4 sacks. Obviously, we talked about the pre-snap penalties. They at one point went from a 3rd and 4 at a 25 to a possession they had to punt on.
I know.
I mean, that is rough. Aaron Jones has been great. Justin Jefferson could catch a pass from you and I.
All right, Houston all of a sudden missed Joe Mixon, too.
It's Sam Darnold. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Okay.
Yeah. Sam Darnold was good. I love to me, it's Aaron Jones. Sam Darnold, did he throw it all in the second half? Not really.
Didn't have to. They won 34-7. Okay, your Eagles go down to New Orleans. They win 15-12. Not exactly the offensive fireworks we were expecting from the Saints. Good job by the Eagles defense, making the Saints look really pedestrian, especially that defensive front.
That was a bad coach off because the Saints left at least 10 points on the floor. The Eagles left even more on. The Eagles had almost 500 yards and scored 15 points. It was
all
crazy.
in the fourth quarter.
It was crazy how Dennis Allen and Nick Sirianni had no idea what to do in the red zone. They're both doing bend don't break defenses, and they weren't good enough to get in the end zone. That was a fluke. That was a fluke on top of a fluke on top of a fluke. I don't really take much away from this game because the Saints looked like they couldn't do anything. Then Olave has a miracle touchdown. I feel like both teams are waiting to screw up next week. Does that make sense?
Wow, so much confidence you have in your team. Let's move on. The Broncos get their first win of the season, 26-7. This was one of the more stunning upsets, I thought, of the day.
Yeah.
I had sort of believed and kind of bought in a bit to Tampa Bay. Turns out not the case. Bo Nix looks good. Got off to an early start with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and the Broncos' defense looked really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Bo Nix with the way he moves.
The wheels,
I
man.
mean, he really is fat. It's Auburn Bo Nix all over again. So it actually makes me feel better about that pick. This game was a huge sigh of relief because I think some Broncos fans were wondering, oh, no, did we miss again at quarterback? And the Bucs beats me. Beats me the whole NFC South. I have no idea what's going on there.
Remember last week when we were like, this division could have 2 teams that go to the playoffs? That was stupid.
Now I'm like, can Andy Dalton actually win this division with the Panthers?
Speaking of the NFC South, here come the Panthers. Their first win of the season, 36-22. Andy Dalton looks great, and Antonio Pierce, the head coach of the Raiders, already questioning whether guys are making business decisions instead of playing hard.
I mean,
rough.
What does that say about the last 20 games for Bryce Young, that Andy Dalton can go out and do that? I mean, it's definitely an indictment on the former number 1 overall pick.
You think?
And he was playing, everyone say, well, it's the system, it's the team. It wasn't. It was him. He just has no confidence. So I think the Dalton did that is the end of Bryce Young for the foreseeable future.
So I think Bryce Young, is not going to play for the Panthers ever again. Diana Rossini is reporting that. But here's the other part. So until the Raiders had 15 fourth quarter points, I actually was thinking to myself, is this going to become so much of a blowout that they have to put Bryce Young in the game? Because you'd have to pull Dalton because you'd be up by like 4 scores, and now normally the backup would get in. I'm like, we might see Bryce Young today after all.
Good point. Aiden O'Connell came in and shredded it up a little bit.
Seahawks 24, Dolphins 3 in a game where the Dolphins lose their backup quarterback. So Tua's on IR with concussions. Then Skylar Thompson out of the game. He's got, broken ribs, did they say?
Yeah, very bad broken rib.
So that's it for him for a while. So now where do the Dolphins go? Snoop Huntley was not active yesterday. He's the guy they signed after the Tua injury. They've got to start. They have to bring someone else in this week, Perloff.
Or do you just tank?
It's too early.
I don't know. That was such a weak effort by Miami. That game I know the score was relatively close. it never felt like Miami was going to put together some offense. I like to see everything I'm seeing in Seattle. I know it's a week 3-0, but Zach Charbonnet is the real deal. And for the most part, Geno's awesome. Geno had a couple mistakes in this game, but Geno Smith to DK Metcalf is one of my favorite combos.
Ravens 28, Cowboys 25. This game was a blowout until the Cowboys rallied for 19 points in the fourth quarter. Perloff to try to make it and complete this furious comeback. They couldn't do it. I don't think you take any solace in this if you're a Cowboy fan, like, oh gosh, we stormed back in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. There's really nothing to like here if you're the Dallas side of things. You still can't stop the run. The Baltimore Ravens were the much more motivated team, even though the Cowboys themselves got smoked last week. They should be motivated. I thought this was a bad sign for Dallas.
Yeah, but 0-2 is more motivated than 1-1. And also Baltimore, I mean, Lamar ran 14 times. It's tough. He knew that was going to be a problem. Dallas specifically not designed for this game. They'll bounce back.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda there from Dallas. They could have signed him, should have signed him, but didn't. Okay, Rams 27, 49ers 24 in a game that just had us all shaking our heads. Another blown lead for the 49ers in a game where not a lot of people were healthy, Perloff, but the Rams end up stealing a game from a division rival where they did not lead at any point in the game until 2 seconds left when they kicked the game-winning field goal.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It was a slow burn. You could see the Niners subtly throwing that game away at several points. Special teams not good. Pass rush non-existent on Matthew Stafford at the end. I mean, how can you lose to Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson? I didn't even know half the guys that were running out on routes. That was a bad loss. Definitely a
bad loss for San Francisco. Yeah, you just shake your head. I know you're missing guys on offense, but you had a lot of your defensive guys there. Okay, Lions 20, Cardinals 13. 3 points total scored in the second half of this game. And the Lions didn't score at all in the second half. I keep waiting, Perloff. Where's this juggernaut offense? Like, when is that going to get back into our life with the Detroit Lions?
Well, I like it. The Lions they just put a stranglehold on that game with the run game. And it's impressive. I think Montgomery and Gibbs is a real factor. Like, that's a championship combination.
Yeah, but it's a 20-10 lead on the road. Like, that's not to me where you then sit on the lead. If I'm the Detroit Lions, I want to keep leaning on them, keep pouring it on.
Well, I don't know. I felt like it was a real imposing of will. I think Dan Campbell was super happy with that game. When they ran for over 200, the game never felt in any jeopardy to me whatsoever.
It kind of felt in jeopardy to me at the end when they had only a one-score lead, but the Cardinals couldn't do much. Finally, for you, last night, Chiefs at the Falcons. This was another one where the Chiefs defense stands up at the end of the game. Very, very controversial no call as Kyle Pitts gets sort of mugged in the end zone. No flags. The Falcons had another bite at the apple to try to have a game-winning touchdown drive. Couldn't do it. Chiefs escape.
I don't know. Both these teams, they need to get to the last minute. I mean, I was watching the game, and the Chiefs seemed to have it under control. But then the Falcons had two huge opportunities to win the game. Can the Chiefs, here's my question. Can the Chiefs keep winning like this? I mean, it's got to be at a certain point, they're going to drop one of these games. Right, Maggie?
They should have dropped last night. I mean,
they should have, they probably should have lost to the Bengals. They definitely should have lost to the Bengals. I mean, it was a pass interference on a low-round rookie. And they probably could have lost week one if Isaiah Likely's toe was in bounds. That's 3 could have lost.
And they won them all. 3-0. That's your NFL in 60. Let's update some poll questions for you on X at Maggie and Pearl. Do you blame Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers' loss against the Rams? 53% say yes. 47% say no. And does the Cowboys' near comeback against the Ravens matter for Dallas? 85% say no.
Yeah.
No, people were not impressed with that. Maybe Tom Brady was. He's about it.
I think he was just trying to stay awake. By the way, once again, now I got close to the end. I always say this about Romo and Brady. I'm a red zone watcher with a game with volume.
Yeah.
And then I watch the other games on YouTube, DirecTV, Sunday Ticket without volume. So I never hear Tom Brady. If the game was a blowout, Tom Brady was not really in my life yesterday. So I think he could practice on these daytime games. But other people, like, I know the media is going after him pretty heavily. I think he's fine. Like, I don't even know it's Tom Brady. It could be anybody.
But isn't that a problem?
No, it's not a problem at all. What do I care?
Well, I'm just saying, like, we were expecting a lot of really amazing insights from the greatest to ever do it, and we're not really getting that.
Yeah, but does this affect anybody's NFL experience? No, of course not. The games are what matters.
Yeah. It's just, you also can't lie to us, though. And I think he's maybe just a little nervous. Like, oh, yeah, Dak, great game. It's like, he's not. He's not having a good game at all. Anyway, 855-212-4227. He's still finding his way. It's all right. Just has the Super Bowl at the end of the year. Nobody watches that game.
No pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like the exaltation of Greg Olsen as the next John Madden, I didn't totally understand that either.
Well, that I don't really get either. Yeah. But he's better than Brady. But, Brady was always going to get the job. You're not going to start him on the B team. It's Tom Brady. It's just... someone has to be honest with him, I think, about some of the places and areas he needs to get better at. And I think the people at Fox are probably being honest, but you've got to really give him the details. He's trying to learn broadcasting. There's some mechanical issues that he has.
Sorry, they may have needed a 3-team booth with with Brady.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Maybe Brady could play off of another player or coach so that maybe there's some interaction. Like, I think Kevin Burkhardt, he's amazing, but I think he's also having trouble kind of feeling his way through this, and that's not helpful when the veterans also kind of struggling to bring the rookie along. Maybe if there was a third guy in there, maybe they just kept Olsen in there and added Brady as a third guy. I think that maybe Brady could have played off of another football guy well. It's costly. It costs you more money, and you're paying Brady $300 million already. But Fox has got it.
They don't care about that.
Right.
I don't. Three-team booths are really hard. I credit Tiki Barber. They do a great job.
Yeah, they're great on that.
Tiki and Andrew Catalan and
McCourty.
And Jason Devin.
I believe it's Jason.
Jason McCourty. They do a great job on a three-man booth. It's hard. Not everybody is going to be Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson and Mike Breen. It's a hard thing to do.
Well, we'll give you an example of a bad one in football. I'm trying to think.
All the Monday night ones that they mostly tried.
Yeah.
Jason Witten, Booger, and Joe Tessitore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, you asked for one.
I mean,
They didn't even keep Brian Greasy and Louis Riddick together.
Oh, that was
with Steve Levy.
My God, I forgot about that group.
And Kornheiser and who was it? Jaws was with somebody who was doing the playoff play. That didn't work either.
It's tough. It's just tough. I think for Brady, he's just got to loosen up a little bit. And by that, I mean, in a blowout, you can go to some stories. They tried to, with the 28-3 and stuff like that. They tried, but it's just not coming naturally to him yet.
Yeah. Again, I think this is maybe more an us thing. I don't think the average NFL fan cares one way or the other.
855-212-4227. So we have college grades to hand out. The college report card comes your way next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time to go. I have to go to class.
Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
Let's find out who made the grade after this weekend's college football action.
He is totally going to kill at college.
What, like it's hard?
As of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
Maggie and Perloff hand out their college report card.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
All right, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Now, we're going to go through, I told you it was kind of a lame college slate. I didn't know that Colorado was going to be exciting, but I do think the fact that the noon slate on Saturday was weak, but we could go through the rest of the slate. EJ, let's run through the college football report card.
Let's go to Boulder, where ShedeurSanders' Hail Mary helped lift Colorado to overtime and eventually to a win over Baylor.
I got to give him an A. I mean, Shedeur throws these long passes. By the way, it could have been 2 Hail Marys if his wide receiver hadn't dropped the ball. But on the play preceding the actual Hail Mary that sent it to overtime, he's just like effortlessly throwing the ball. Was that 60 yards? I mean, it looks so easy to hit.
But you're giving him an A based on a Hail Mary. I don't know, what are you giving
why
him for
are
the
they in
59
this
minutes,
position?
40 seconds against a mediocre Baylor team? And I got to admit, I did not watch the second half of this game because I'm old. But I don't know. I just like ShedeurSanders. I'm not sure he's building that top 5 pick resume. Even I'm not sure teams are going to be like, oh, the guy can throw a Hail Mary. That's
Where
not a
would
thing.
they be without him? I mean, every time I watch Colorado, I'm like, this guy isn't the problem. I see them not being able to run the ball, not being able to stop the run. He and Travis Hunter are clearly the best players on the field. It's not even close.
Yeah, and still.
So what grade do you give him?
I guess I give him an A based on a Hail Mary, but it feels like I'll give him an A-. Because the rest of the game, what did he throw for? 340 total yards. So he had about 260 against Baylor. Like, he should be kind of tearing them apart. And he just can't with that line.
The offense is so one-dimensional. Okay, some high marks for Shedeur. Who's next, DJ?
All right, let's go to Lincoln Riley. It was USC's debut in the Big Ten. They suffered a heartbreaking loss to Michigan.
Wow, let me get this straight. Lincoln Riley joins the Big Ten and gets run all over by a tough Midwestern Big Ten team. Who would have ever seen that coming? That is a C on Lincoln Riley and the most predictable C in the history of college football.
I kind of want to go like C-, maybe even a D. You played a team that passed for 32 yards.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. Michigan's offense, there's nothing there. They only can run the ball, and with your improved defense, not only did you have to try to really have a furious comeback to get back.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why the weird, shovel passes that when they drop are stopping the clock? I didn't understand it. They were burning time when they needed more time. I thought Lincoln Riley kind of choked here in his first game in the Big Ten.
They were super lucky to get that late lead back. Like that was because Michigan was. That's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a guy that inaccurate. They could have Ryan.
Orji.
Yeah, Alex Orji. Like, dude, you had guys wide open everywhere. USC was just, they said, forget it. We're not even going to cover the wide receivers. We're just going to all come up on the run. They couldn't do anything. So you're right. This is the worst fear of a Lincoln Riley team, that they're just going to be out-toughed. And they were.
Who's next, EJ?
All right, let's go to Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz of the top 10 ranked Missouri Tigers. They had a very, very scary game against Vanderbilt. Need a chip shot missed field goal in overtime to win.
Yeah, this was after they needed to come from behind to beat Boston College, right? And so this has been two tough ones here for Mizzou. Either you can say, oh, this is good, they actually won these games. But I think it's a lot of the penalties and the unforced errors here. So I'm going to give Drinkwitz like a B-.
Wow.
B-.
I'm giving him a D. Apparently, every strategic mistake that you could make, he did make. This is a Vanderbilt team, by the way, that Nick Saban just called out over the weekend saying, yeah, it's hard to go to any SEC place except Vanderbilt. And yet, this is like, they're putting together the lamest resume right now. And especially because there are other good teams in the SEC. I find Missouri kind of disappointing right now. Because, EJ, you got me kind of hype on them coming into the season. They do not look great.
Yeah, I guess there was a situation where they really should have just punted the ball, but instead they ran up quickly and snapped the ball to try to run a play to catch the defense. But then the defense was not fooled by this at all, and Brady Cook got sacked, and they ended up being a terrible turnover that gave Vanderbilt good field position.
I saw a headline in USA Today called Eli Drinkwitz the Yoda of bad clock management. I guess he screwed up the first half and the end of the game.
What I just described was the end of the first half. Oof.
Yeah. So not looking good for them. But then again, the record is good.
They got a bye week this week. I think they need it.
All right, last one, and this one was a doozy. How about UNC head coach Mack Brown, who had to basically offer his resignation to his players after the game?
I saw the funniest tweet of the weekend was a picture of Mack Brown and the former president, James Madison, and said, Mack Brown loses to his old friend, James Madison. Mack's a little older. I thought that made my weekend. I saw that score. I was like, what is going on, North Carolina?
Yeah, they lost 70-50. Imagine taking the under in this game and just being like, I'm the worst gambler alive.
And what do they pay to lose 70-50? They definitely paid six figures.
Was this one of those where you pay them like 1.2
I think it was
million?
over $1 million, right?
Oh, I thought it was less than $1 million.
Oh, okay.
I thought.
I saw on Twitter, you paid $1 million to let up this many points. It is... North Carolina football, can you imagine being a fan of that program? You just have to like the basketball team, because even when they're good, they either get violations, they have #1 picks who end up not winning college football games. They're a mess.
Well, the question is, what if one of the players, when Mack Brown goes in and says, I'll resign if you want, right?
Yeah.
And he comes out, he said, nobody wanted me to resign. It's like, wow, who could have seen that coming?
Well, that being said, I would love to play for Mack Brown. Mack Brown, and he posts when they win and he does that dance. I love Mack Brown. I just don't think he has his fastball anymore based on yesterday.
Yeah,
Saturday.
Usually these disappointing losses don't come till a little later in the season for UNC, but it's like him saying, all right, who here wants me to resign is a little like going to a wedding and being like, if anyone objects to these two people getting married, like no one actually is like, stop the wedding.
By the way, $500,000 North Carolina paid to get James Madison to come in and drop 70 on them.
But James Madison was top 25 last year, right? They're good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I watched that score, and I actually thought maybe it was basketball season. I was like, is this preseason basketball going on? This can't be the right football score.
Yep, it is. How old is Mack Brown? 73? 1 year for almost every point that got scored on that.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bogus is here with headlines.
Maybe they got some help from the officials who didn't call pass interference in the end zone late in the fourth quarter, but the Chiefs defense made the plays otherwise to hold on in Atlanta on Sunday Night Football.
On fourth down and a yard to go. Long count. They give it up. Bashan Robinson hit in the backfield. He goes down. Kansas City holds on downs again. Nick Bolton scrapes to the outside and makes the hit. And Kansas City defensively holds on downs. Fourth down at the 6 and now the 13.
Mitch Holtis on Chiefs Radio. KC escaping with the 22-17 win to reach 3-0. Andy Reid would have preferred his offense close things out instead.
We need to do a better job offensively on that last drive and not put the defense in that position.
The Chiefs went 3 and out on that drive in between those fourth down stops. How about one more bouquet for Pearl's friend, Andrew Jebediah Dalton III? He had the NFL's first 300-yard, 3 TD game this season yesterday. He was so good in Vegas that, as you heard from Antonio Pierce last hour, he made dudes quit. That's the world we live in.
By the way, his middle name is Gregory. I call him Jay because my middle initial is J. So
we're all wrong.
So when I say Andrew J. Dalton, I'm just referring to myself. He's Andrew G. Dalton.
And did you give him a third or a junior the first introduction?
Yeah.
Is that true, or is that for your
no,
friend?
it just
or
sounds
what?
good.
Okay.
No, it's like Robert Griffin III,
Yeah.
Andrew J. Dalton III.
Yeah, he seems like he could be a third.
Or an Esquire?
Yeah. No, I don't think Andy Dalton.
Law degree at night.
I don't think Andy Dalton's from like British aristocracy. He's from Fort Worth. I mean, I don't know.
Could be oil aristocracy.
Yeah. He's not.
Oh, okay, well, you know.
Oh, no, actually, no. He's from Houston. He's not even from Fort Worth.
Still could be oil money.
No, I don't think he is.
The Giants considered quitting in Cleveland yesterday, fumbling the opening kickoff and giving up a touchdown on the very next play. So they were down 7-0 after 11 seconds, but they rallied, then hung on for a 21-15 W. Golly gee, says Daniel Jones.
Man, huge credit to our defense, the way they played. Obviously, fumble on the kick return, and then they score on the first play, and then after that, the defense, buckled down, played an unbelievable game, and hats off to them. They were big time.
There was one point during that early window yesterday where Jones was having the best quarterback day in the league. It didn't finish that way necessarily. We did throw 2 touchdown passes to Malik Neighbors. He's the first receiver ever with 20 catches and 3 scores in his first 3 career games. Now, Week 3 has 2 games left. The Bills host the Jaguars, 7:30 Eastern. The Commanders and Bengals start 45 minutes later. Hopefully the ratings are better than Caitlin Clark's game. 11 points, missed 13 of 17 shots. Her Fever took a 93-69 hammering from the Sun to begin their best of 3 yesterday. But Clark is the unanimous Rookie of the Year. She also finished 4th in MVP voting. Asia Wilson won that unanimously, then had 21 points and 5 blocks in the Aces' 78-67 Game 1 win over the Storm.
I'm very nervous about this ratings bet because
I'm not. I'm hungry.
Yeah, because I feel like I've somehow made everyone except Ryan Botcher mad on this show over the last couple of weeks. I mean,
Ryan's pissed.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can't make Ryan Botcher. But so I feel like if I lose this bet, I'm going to have to really pay up. I'm trying a technicality where the peak rating got over 2 million.
No, but the bet's with me. It's whoever buys breakfast tomorrow for everyone, whether that Caitlin Clark's first WNBA game was going to get have 2 million people watching.
Right. So
that's the rating. That's not the peak rating.
Well, 2 million people watching at once is 2 million people watching, and
but
therefore I would
never
win.
said peak rating.
I don't even know what. First of all, we're not broadcast executives. I don't even know what that means.
Well, I mean, you have to be Einstein to figure out what peak rating means.
So if they got 2 million at any point in the game, I win, right?
Nope.
No.
2 million people watching That's what I said.
The average. We go with the average.
It's like
why will we go with the average? Because you want to get in on this free meal here, right?
No, it's because you never said peak. It's like, what are the ratings? Whatever that first number, not the peak number.
It'd be like the time. What did you try to do, Maggie? Get the spread involved?
Oh God!
Through the back door.
It'd be the
same
started
thing.
this whole Sweet Caroline
Right.
business. I'm still paying for.
Yes, that was last year when the Bills played the Eagles, and Perloff and I were gonna have to dress up like each other's team, like super fans, and sing the fight song and stuff like that. And I tried to pull we never said it wasn't against the spread.
Well, it's like
and our old boss got so mad at me because that he punished the whole show and made us all dress up.
Two mayors betting, like, famously, like, oh, I'm the mayor of Baltimore. Give me 4 points and let's do a bet. What are you talking about? Like, it was pride on the line and you try to get points?
I'll take the crab cakes and the under.
By the way, it wasn't even after the bet. Spike was mad. Our former boss, Spike, was mad before the game even happened because you tried to get points. Because
when I put the bet out on social media, I put the -4 or whatever it was. I forgot what the spread was.
Baseball yesterday, the Diamondbacks blew an 8-0 lead in Milwaukee, lost 10-9. Then the Mets snuck past the Phillies at night 2-1. So New York and Arizona are again tied for the last two wildcard spots. The Braves are 2 games behind them, and the disappointing Reds have fired manager David Bell, who signed a 3-year extension just last summer. Last thing for me, let's go back to Saturday's Colorado State UTEP game. This was on True TV, apparently. J.B. Long, Mike Golick Jr. on the call, and J.B. notices that they are 4 minutes into the third quarter, and no penalties had been called yet.
I hold my tongue, but there's a noticeable box score statistic, Golick, that we may need to address here before too much more time passes. Oh, no. I don't even believe in it. The broadcaster jinx is not a thing. But,
you did it.
Oh, my gosh, the first penalty of the game. As if it were scripted, my bad.
Start. Offense number 68, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Drew Moss, that is not you. My friend, that is me.
I'm
2,000 career snaps, and I walk into your house, and I ding you for one.
At least he was an adult taking responsibility. But he wasn't even done saying, we haven't had a flag yet, and there was the flag.
That's pretty amazing, though, to get all the way to the third quarter without a penalty.
Yeah, it is. Bogus, you
My
ever
kind of officiating.
Have you ever done the jinx as a broadcaster?
Oh, I've definitely done the free throw jinx.
The worst.
Yes.
Don't tell me you did it when you were doing NBA games last year.
I don't think so.
That would
Just
be
college
terrible.
kids that you really care
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Well, yeah, I guess you could bet on them
Yeah.
then. Yeah, what if you had money against one of the teams and you said, well, he's 87%, never misses in this spot.
Bogus had money on one of the teams. He's got a lot more problems than an announcer
that,
jinx.
Yeah, by the way, are you bearing the big result from the weekend there, Bogus?
Didn't happen.
Oh, you guys aren't aware of this?
Fordham.
Fordham. Guess who they lost to?
Yeah, I know.
Dartmouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, how did this not come out earlier?
Fordham lost. It would have been the lead had they won.
It's a very curated update.
Yeah. I'm the one in charge. I write them. We would have led. We would have knocked away the Chiefs and Falcons.
I was
to
trying
bring
to
the Fordham win in New Hampshire.
I was trying to think of something to say to Bogus, but I couldn't name a single player on the Dartmouth team, so that put me in a tough spot.
And what did I say? They all looked good Saturday.
Yeah, what was the spread on that bad boy?
I don't know, but the final score was not close. Fordham doesn't have its best. It has its quarterback and its best defensive player, plus its best wide receiver. So that was.
Dude, you got to tell me this. We got to make some money.
Excuses.
No. Are you allowed? By the way, so you do
No.
call for it because you're not allowed to gamble on them, right?
No.
Not only that, he's not allowed to tell us anything that he might have information that could help you and I make money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We're really pulling him out
if
to
you're
deep
listening,
water
he
here.
does not.
But there's nothing less truthful, by the way, than those too deep things that teams put out, the depth charts.
Yeah.
Because I've had coaches go, yeah, John's not playing. His leg fell off, but he's listed as the starting left guard. Like, why are we doing this?
So when
Who are you fooling?
Al Michaels says all this stuff, he doesn't actually have money on these games.
Al Michaels is not me. He does what he wants.
Yeah, Al Michaels.
When Al Michaels goes, this game is over.
yeah.
It couldn't be any more obvious.
yeah. He's definitely at the golf club. Put down a 50 spot on that, right? Wait,
that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
Yeah.
Announcers with inside info,
Maybe
betting on
AI
stuff.
Al Michaels has money on the game, but I don't know about real Al.
Did you guys hear last week he was trying to rail against AI?
Yeah.
During Sunday Football. I'm like, who the hell are you, Al Michaels? Respectfully. You literally had your AI voice on the Olympics.
Dude, he's calling a game with Herbie. He's desperately trying to come up with something to talk about.
I think Herb Street's been better this year on the NFL.
Oh, my God. Their
He
games,
has.
it's amazing how bad those games become.
Well, Tua almost died on the field. I mean, what are you going to – you can't jazz that up. And they tried.
Yeah, I mean, they've had – I think every game has been bad again.
Yeah, I can't wait for Giants-Cowboys on Thursday. Angry Cowboys, terrible Giants.
I don't know.
Look out.
Collision course. Stugatz would say.
It's a race for first.
What's that?
It's a race for first place in NFC East.
It's true.
We'll see.
Well, no, because the Eagles are 2-1.
2-1. Commanders could be in 2-1.
We've got some must-win games tonight. The 0-3 Jacksonville and 0-3
Sure.
Bengals both in action tonight.
That is actually
And the 0-2,
super
sorry.
must-win.
In danger of being 0-3.
And speaking of broadcaster jinx, I
just
saw
did
one yesterday for your boy Josh Allen that I was going to bring up to be a jerk this morning, but then I remembered that he's on my fantasy team and I need him to play well. So
Is this when all the broadcasters pick the same team to win? It's like, you idiots.
Yeah.
You realize what you've done?
Yeah.
Somebody pick someone else.
But actually, I would say 90% of the media picks the Bills every week, and you pick against them every week. Clearly, we understand what's going on here. Deep psychological trauma when it comes to your own football team.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but that was not an insult in any way.
It's funny, like
that was facts.
Go to therapy. Like, you don't
Football,
understand.
yeah.
I'm showing her clips of Scott Norwood.
If you went to a football therapist and you were wearing a Bills jersey, they'd just be like, "Get out of here! There's nothing I can do for you."
I don't have the degree for that.
Yeah, there is no degree. Sigmund Freud himself
I know.
cannot.
I do my
help
sessions
you
from
out.
home, and it's just Bills and Mets stuff hanging behind me on the video conference call.
Sorry, Maggie, I can't help.
They're just like, here's a lot of drugs. Thank you, Bogus. 855-212-4227. Only something chemical will reverse this amount of disappointment.
Seems to be working,
Is
too.
that why everyone gets so hammered in the parking lot?
Yep. Yep, you learned. Okay, lots more to do, including we should make picks for tonight. We've also got one team who's out to a shocking start. Can they sustain it? We do all that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Can I add a little insult to injury for the Dallas Cowboys?
Okay.
I saw this tweet from Spotrac, the website that tracks all the NFL salaries. Does a great job. According to them, the Cowboys, quote unquote, could not afford Derrick Henry, who wanted $9 million guaranteed, because they owe their QB3 Trey Lance $5.3 million guaranteed this year, and they paid Dak Prescott a $5 million bonus in March while his negotiations were stalled, to name a few reasons. I do remember that Dak Prescott money that made no sense at the time. And the fact that Trey Lance is getting $5 million to sit there, they should have signed Derrick Henry for the sole reason of not having him on the field against them in week 3.
Little would they know this interconference, game that came up in week 3. They should have done it just for that. Well, here was Jerry Jones yesterday. He was asked this question by our friend Matt Mosley, right?
I believe so, yes.
About why they didn't go harder after Derrick Henry.
Do what he did. It didn't make you rethink your approach to the run game.
We couldn't afford that.
Why not?
Well,
you could.
I don't know. Why can't you buy a mansion when you live in a different kind of house? We couldn't afford it. We can't make that all fit.
So was that a general you, or was he specifically talking to Matt, saying, why can't you live in a mansion? Like, Jerry, it's a low blow. And Matt has a very nice house, from what I understand as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, I mean, that's what more does someone really need?
Yeah, I'm sure Matt's house is perfectly fine. I mean, sorry, he doesn't have the Jerry Mobile and the yacht.
I know, but who does? I don't think that was to Matt, but I think that it's funny. Jerry's really good at money and maybe terrible at money all at the same time, right? He's good enough to make the Cowboys into a $10 billion business, but the way that they manage their salary cap, I think leaves a lot of, to be desired. Why are you always paying guys at the very tippity top of the market? Because you're late on stuff. You want to see more leaves fall, as Jerry says.
Well, CeeDee Lamb was probably going to get right around there anyway. He was probably going to be right below Justin Jefferson one way or the other. They haven't paid Micah Parsons yet. So you're saying really Dak, they could have done Dak earlier. The thing about Derrick Henry, it's a 32-year-old running back. It might not have been the smartest move anyway. I'm not going to kill him for that, but they need somebody better than Zeke Elliott.
Listen, they needed, it's funny because you always talk about running backs. Oh, they're interchangeable. Well, not really for the Cowboys, they're not, because not one of them is got the qualities of the interchangeable quarterbacks, right? And it's funny. Some teams can just find running backs because of the type of style and offense they play. Like the 49ers will always find somebody. Yeah. It seems like the Rams will always find somebody, stuff like that. But the Cowboys clearly are not that type of offense.
Right. Henry's 30, by the way. I gave him an extra 2 years. He doesn't need that.
No, he doesn't. Quickly, Terry's in Lubbock. Terry, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. First and foremost, go Bills. But I wanted to answer your question about Tom Brady. Honestly, I don't mind him too much, and I'll take him 10 times out of 10 over Chris Collinsworth. I think it's honestly ridiculous when you watch Chris Collinsworth call a game with Patrick Mahomes because the dude snaps the ball. And Chris Collinsworth, the media is like, look at the way he snaps the ball. It's magical. And he's obviously biased, you know what I mean? Because there was that bogus call about roughing the passer against Kirk Cousins, and Collinsworth was all over it. But then they do it to Mahomes, and the bogus call against Mahomes, but then they do it to Cousins, and Collinsworth was sitting there, oh, that's a suspect call. At least he got it right when they got all over Pitts, which would have got me, Pitts anytime touchdown, by the way. But, the Chiefs again and again. I mean, there's always a suspect call, and Chris Collinsworth that dude they need to put him someplace else. And if I'm being honest here, any radio caller is better than any TV caller any day of the week. They're all kind of there.
Terry,
that's all I got, though.
Dropping the mic at the end of the show.
Yeah. Chris Collinsworth does love him some Patrick Mahomes. I think.
Yeah, but Chris Collinsworth sounds like he's Picasso compared to Brady.
He has a little more energy than Brady. I'll give him that.
Thank you to E.J. Stewart. Thank you to Ryan Botcher, Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos Coffee Drinkers. We'll see you tomorrow after a doubleheader on Monday night tonight.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.